Program, and it's an honor to serve as your MC today. Before we begin, consider for a moment the spirit of Bharat reflected across our diverse landscapes today. We see it in the profound resilience of dryland farmers in Maharashtra who treat every drop of water as gold. We see it in the inspiring leadership of women in Odisha who have sparked a global millet movement, and in the energy of our youth in Telangana, whose creative breakthroughs are already defining the agricultural landscape. These stories are not isolated, as we know. They represent quite relentless innovation that happens every single day in our soil. This spirit is a true engine of Viksit Bharat. To build a developed India, our policies must be as robust and as rooted in evidence as the farmers who sustain us. Today, we bridge the gap between the grassroots grit and high level policy innovation. I extend my heartfelt welcome to everyone here. So now I would request the guests for today to come up on stage as I call their names. First, I would like to welcome Professor Ramesh Chand. So please, could you come up on stage? Dr. Arbinda Kumar Padi. He'll be online? Okay, thank you.
I have joined online, please. Thank
Director
you.
General ICRISAT. Dr. Raghavendra Bhatta, Deputy Director General, ICAR. Welcome, sir. Dr. Madhura Swaminathan, Professor and Head, Economic Analysis Unit, Indian Statistical Institute, Bangalore. And we also have none other than our Dr. Clemens Breisinger, Director, Policy Innovation Science Program. Welcome, Clemens. And we also have with us Dr. Shahidur Rashid, Director, South Asia, IFPRI. Welcome on stage, sir. Welcome, Dr. Padi.
Yes, thank you. Good morning to all. Namaskar, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you for joining us online. So to start our day today, I invite Dr. Shahidur Rashid, Director for the IFPRI South Asia Office, a leader who has spent decades ensuring that research actually reaches those fields. He has conceptualized and implemented multi-country research programs in both Asia and Sub-Saharan Africa. He has initiated partnership with several regional bodies, including the BIMSTEC, the SAARC, and the ASEAN. Throughout his career, he has worked to translate research into policy actions to improve food and nutrition security. Welcome, Dr. Shahid. Over to you. Sir, can we finish?
Oh, okay.
Oh, sure. Okay, okay. So we would like to felicitate all our guests today before we begin. Oh, yeah, maybe. Professor Ramesh Chand. Dr. Himanshu. Yeah. Oh. Dr. Himanshu Pathak. Dr. Madhura Swaminathan. Do you want to write his name? And Dr. Clemens. Please join them. Dr. Raghavendra Bhatta. Yes, maybe you could. The next time you're here, Dr. Paddy, we'll hand this to you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Bring it to Bhubaneswar.
Yeah. Thank you. Dr. Shahidur, from our side, from the entire team of IFPRI and ICRISAT, yes.
Get that too. Thank you.
So, Dr. Shahid, would you like to welcome our guests and kick off the meeting?
Good morning, everyone. Chief guest of the event, I was telling just outside that he is my boss's boss. He is on the board of trustees at IFPRI, as well as the integrated board for the CGIAR. Professor Ramesh Chand, Dr. Himanshu Pathak, former DG and ICAR and DG now ICRISAT. Professor Madhura Swaminathan, my friend Clemens Bressinger, and Dr. Batra. And thank you, Dr. Padi, for agreeing to join us very last minute. Very appreciated. So I'll not take much time. My job was just to welcome everyone, not comment on anything, but I couldn't resist myself. So I want to make just 3 comments. Comment number 1 is, what is policy innovation? We as CGIAR members, we talk about technological innovation. What is the intersection of it? They're actually conceptually intertwined. And policies influences technological innovation. Policies meaning regulation, investment, incentives, or disincentives. Incentives in the sense of subsidizing, disincentive in terms of taxing. So all of that influences the technological innovation, growth, productivity, and prosperity. So they are clearly intertwined. But what we have faced struggle for a long period of time. I have colleagues here. My former boss, Dr. Ashok Gulati, is sitting here. So challenge that has been is how to marry them together to make it more productive so that the well-being of the society, well-being of the agent within the economy can be enhanced. So in that sense, we are on that space. Now question is, what can Policy Hub do? What do we mean by Innovation Policy Hub? That is in the 5 countries now under the new CGIAR structure. And India is perhaps going to be the biggest. So what is our expectation out of it? If you consider in terms of a project, I think it's a very small project in terms of funding. It's not even a mid-sized project at IFPRI. And if I had to go to a proposal, bilateral proposal, these would have gone to SMT for clearance because it's that small. I'm not going to give the money number. But we have a strategic importance. Think about it. In India, now practically all centers are present except IITA. And IITA is considering to come to Delhi. So Simon Yogi, new DG, is very keen, he was here, is very keen to send a team in India. And if you think about just the India's contribution to CG system today, that is about $46 million. So that is, then it becomes a sizable pot of resources to make a coordinated effort to make a difference, contribute to the bigger vision of India. These are really ambitious, bold vision. When you talk about becoming $30 trillion economy by 2047, when you talk about net zero by 2070, these are really big vision. So what is our role then? Our role then will be to provide our core competence and using our core competencies, whatever global product, global public good we generate, and fit that in this platform. So it's essentially a small platform where we bring together our insight across digital centers. So this is what Policy Innovation Hub is. It's a catalyst. And this is very common in the science and technological development. You always needed catalytic funds. These can be a small catalytic fund. So what do we need to do? We are now partnering with ICRISAT. So ICRISAT has the responsibility, IFPRI has the responsibility to bring us together so that we can contribute to the bigger vision, not only for India, but to take these messages across other countries. So there are 4 countries in Africa where we are working on this. So I think that will be our challenge. And as center then, we also have to think about how we can resources better. So towards that, DG Pathak, DG IFPRI, Yoswinen, and other DGs will have to work together along with the science program director like Clemens Bressinger. So with those quick comments, I'd like to welcome you all and a very successful deliberation. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Rashid, for those opening reflections and for setting such a constructive tone for the morning. Next, for a context, I welcome Dr. Clemens Bressinger, Director of the CGIAR Policy Innovation Science Program, who brings a wealth of experience in using rigorous evidence to address complex food system challenges. Dr. Clemens previously headed IFPRI's Egypt office and its Kenya office, a period during which he was also the director for the National Policies and Strategies Program. His research spans a broad range of topics, including economic and food system transformation. Welcome, Dr. Clemens. Over to you.
Thank you, Raji, very much. Thank you, Shahid. Dear colleagues from Indian partner institutions, from CGIAR, it's really a great pleasure to be here. Thank you very much. So welcome to the launch of the CGIAR Policy Innovations Hub. As we all of us know, CGIAR is the largest research for development organization in the world, with about 9,000 staff all over the globe. Now, in 2025, the CGIAR has embarked on a new chapter in its history, and that is a new portfolio, 2025 to 2030. And one of the key new features here is that the CGIAR becomes even more partner-centric, even more closer to our partners in the Global South and more led by our partners. The co-creation of research, innovation, and in the end of the day, impact is at the core of the mission. So an important feature is that we are closer to our partners. The portfolio is structured in different programs and accelerators, different topics, different countries. And today, the main program we are talking about is the Policy Innovation Science Program. Now, a major feature of the Policy Innovation Science Programs, like Shahid has just mentioned, are the country policy innovation hubs. Those hubs are initially in 5 countries, India, Kenya, Ethiopia, Malawi, and India, and we are hoping to expand that concept even further. Now, the launch of this Policy Innovation Hub is a forward-looking step towards institutionalizing continuous engagement, accelerating the flow of insights from global to local and from local to global, a lot of cross-country learning as well. A lot of lessons can be learned from India to African countries, for example, or the other way around in the development process. Now, the Policy Innovation Hub, and that is a second important feature, is also leveraging cutting-edge tools, data systems, and analytical frameworks developed by CGIAR and other institutions, which will be made accessible to researchers and policymakers to strengthen evidence-based policy making. Now, let me just highlight one. There is no meeting nowadays without mentioning artificial intelligence, of course. Now, how can artificial intelligence help us to bring science closer to policy? let us contemplate the usual process that we are going through. A policymaker has a question. Maybe there is a global crisis, a geopolitical issue. Maybe oil prices go up. We need an answer. We need data. We need some evidence to our partners, policymakers. What does that mean for our country? Maybe what does it mean for the food system? What does it mean for the agriculture sector? So the usual process is, okay, we get this question, then we start assembling data. Often we need specialized softwares like GAMS, for example, or Stata, whatever we need. And we need highly specialized people as well. We need people who know the local context, and we need modelers, for example, to sort of run the models, etc. That can take a few days if they are good, right? Can take weeks if things take a little bit longer. And then we just have one set of results. Then we go to the policymaker and say, look, this is what we think is happening. But then what if the policymaker thinks, yeah, no, but I don't think your assumptions are right. I would like you to run this and this other scenario, right? Then we have to go back, and it takes another few days. And sometimes, not always, but until we reach that stage, the policy issue has been resolved without evidence or with less evidence. And so we have been discussing this for years and years and years. How can we put these sophisticated tools in the hand of decision maker and make it a lot faster and a lot more affordable to get those results more quickly so that they can actually be used in the process? So around came AI, and it is going to be a game changer, I can say, I think, for our profession in terms of policy. Now, the way we envision this, it's under development, so hopefully we will have a beta version soon to showcase. Now, there's something like a natural language model, which basically is an interface where anyone can interact with natural language. So we can type our question in that sort of landing page. We say, okay, so what is the impact of the current crisis in the Middle East on our country, for example? And then in an interactive way, we can actually start designing a scenario. So there would be a suggestion of saying, okay, global oil prices are up by this, and then the fertilizer price is starting to move in this and this direction. Do you agree? So depending on what our knowledge is or what our thinking is, because no one knows, right? Then we start designing the scenario together with the natural language model. So once we are happy with all the assumptions, we push the button, and in the background runs the model, right? We don't need any software, nothing. And then we get the first set of results, and then we can actually start questioning these results. Because sometimes policymakers or people that are not technical experts see this as a black box, and that's why they don't trust the result if we can't explain it well. But so now is you can start talking again and say, okay, I don't think rural poverty go up by this much. Why? And then we'll explain to you what happened, why, etc. And you can anytime also change your scenario. You can say, okay, let's assume this crisis goes longer, shorter, etc. In a nutshell, this is one of the innovations that the Policy Innovation Science Program is working on. Just bringing those otherwise very sophisticated model closer to our partners at the global level, but also at the country level. So more on this soon. Just let me say, and also thank again the CGIAR as a whole, but also ICAR, who will play a critical role as a strategic national partner, ensuring alignment with India's agricultural research ecosystem and facilitating policy uptake and institutional agenda. So let me thank you all, especially ICRISAT and IFPRI, and particularly the country leads, Shahid and Shalander, for organizing this event, for leading the India Policy Innovation Hubs. I'm looking forward to today and looking forward to continue working with you guys. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Clements, for framing the evidence-based roadmap we are here to discuss today and also introducing the policy hubs. So now we move on to welcoming our special guests for the day. We are actually privileged to have a powerhouse panel of special guests with us joining us. So first, I would like to welcome Dr. Madhura Swaminathan. Dr. Madhura Swaminathan is a professor at the Economic Analysis Unit of the Indian Statistical Institute in Bangalore with a doctorate in economics from the University of Oxford. She specializes in food security, agriculture, and rural development. Her notable publications include several co-authored books on welfare distribution, agrarian studies, financial liberalization, and socioeconomic surveys. She served on the Government of India's high-level panel on long-term food security and was elected to the Committee of Development Policy of the UN Economic and Social Council for the term 2013 to 15. Over to you, Dr. Madhura.
Thank you. And particularly to Dr. Shahidur and Dr. Himanshu Pathak for organizing this event, and all the distinguished dignitaries on the dais. And I welcome this policy hub and look forward to collaborating with the CG institutes. Actually, I happen to be on the board of IRI and I'm also a SPIA affiliate. So I do have a small CG hat. But I'm here today not in that capacity. We've talked about, I think the title of today's event is Evidence-Led Policy. And I would like to spend my few minutes on talking about evidence from village studies, which many of you probably are not familiar with. Over the last 20 years, exactly from 2005 to 6 to now 25, with colleagues, scholars, young students, and through the Foundation for Agrarian Studies based in Bangalore, I have been involved in village studies across India. And what is a village study? For some of you scientists here, it's an in-depth study of a village. We interview every household man, woman, whether landowning, whether landless, whether cultivating A crop or B crop. And in this way, we can get a sort of aggregate picture of what is happening to the village economy. I would like to, ICRISAT, of course, had pioneered these village studies. I'll come to that in the end. And I think we get some insights from this kind of village study that can add to our macro data sets and models and so on. So let me spend a few minutes on a village in Western Uttar Pradesh, which we studied in Bijnor district, which we studied in 2006. And again, in 2023, we have panel data over a 17-year period. I can just give you one. I want to just focus on two findings in the next couple of minutes. First, if you look at the aggregate income of all the resident households, in this 17-year period, it's grown at about 4% per annum. So I think that's quite significant in terms of, income growth, economic change is happening. But I want to focus on one crop, that is sugarcane. This is part of the sugarcane belt. In fact, Western UP is sort of leading the sugarcane production in UP. And what do we see in around 12, 13, 14, a new variety of sugarcane, CO0238, was introduced. And I know I'm not an agronomist or a breeder here, but bear with me. And between these 17 years, I'm giving you the micro data, but this is reflected in the macro picture. Area under sugarcane increased, yield of sugarcane increased, production doubled. If you look at growth rate at the village level only, output grew at about 3.6% per annum over a 10-year period. So this is, I think, higher than for many other crops that we see. And if we can decompose it, we see that about 66% of that has come from yield. And the important point here, because I want to move to the next one, is that all farmers, whether small, large, tenant farmers, Dalit farmers, have adopted this varieties. When there is a successful technological innovation, when there's a variety which makes a difference, the adoption was universal. The second point, and this is something which you don't get from the official statistics, is the inequality. The differences within the village in incomes, not so much in yield. We know distribution of land is highly unequal, and it's remained that way. But there's a very big change. Huge expansion of tenancy. The distribution of operational holdings today is entirely different. Again, just to give an example, about 1/3 of the village, the caste Hindu Tyagi households, own 70-75% of the land. That's remained unchanged. They only operate 50% of the area of the land, and the remaining 50% is being operated by scheduled castes and OBCs, other backward class households, who are not only socially discriminated and deprived, but are largely landless or holding very small amounts of land. So point I'm saying is, if we are taking our technology to cultivators, to actual tillers of the land, they are no longer the owners. And this 50% who are tenants are now counted in the CCPC data, barely counted in the situation assessment survey. We don't know much about them. Last point, then I think I have to, please indicate to me, I think I have to move on. So the gross value of output has increased, income has increased, but there's a huge difference between caste Hindu, statistically significant different income, net income per acre. It's still about 1 lakh per hectare, which is, good by Indian farming standards. But there's a difference between scheduled caste, OBC, and caste Hindu households. And why is there difference? For many reasons. I won't go into them here. One of them, of course, is these are tenant cultivators. They have to pay rent. They have to hire the machine labor. They're not members of the cane society. They have to get the parchi from the landowner. They don't get the inputs from the cooperative society, and we can go on. So let me end, because I think I have to do that. Aggregate change, when we look at remarkable transformation in sugarcane production in Uttar Pradesh, and I think most of you know that better than I do, with a significant technological development. But when we look at the benefits of this, when we look at within village actual cultivators, huge inequalities, which I think we are not keeping on our radar. The official statistics don't have it on our radar. So if we only go by the large-scale data sets, we're going to miss this. Last point, I hope we can collaborate with ICRISAT to restart the Village Studies program, because I think that can give us new insights. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Madhura, for those valuable perspectives. Next, I would like to welcome our next special guest for the day, Dr. Raghavendra Bhatta. He's a distinguished veterinary scientist and researcher, currently serving as a Deputy Director General, Animal Science at the Indian Council of Agricultural Research in Delhi, a position he assumed in January 2024. He's a nationally recognized expert in animal nutrition and grazing livestock studies. Over to you, Dr. Raghavendra.
Thank you very much. Good morning. Most respected Professor Rameshchandra sir, Dr. Himanshu Pathak ji, former DG ICAR, DG ICRISAT, Dr. Clement, Dr. Madhura ji, Dr. Gulati Saab, Dr. Joshi ji, distinguished invitees, and ladies and gentlemen. At the outset, let me thank ICRISAT for giving an opportunity for the livestock sector to come on the dais, especially my former DG, as well as Dr. Shalander. As all of you know that livestock is a sunrise sector. Annual growth is around 4.5 to 5%, and we contribute almost 30% to the GVA. And our contribution was almost 24% in 2014. And in 2024, it has come to 30%, and also contribute almost 6% to the national GDP.
Now, coming to the milk production, we are one in the world. We almost contribute 25% to the whole world. That's almost 247.7 million metric tons right now. And we are second in the egg production, 149 billion. And also fourth, we are in the fifth. Now we have come to fourth position as far as the meat is concerned. It's almost about 10.5 million tons. Coming to Viksit Bharat, our expected production is around 600 million metric tons. And see, from the present, if you say around 250, so we are going to triple it by Viksit Bharat 2047. So what are the policies, that should be addressed, especially with regard to the livestock sector? The first one is promote climate resilient livestock system, which is very, very important. In the beginning, it was made, mention was made that incentivizing the low methane emitters, especially we are going for the carbon trading in days to come, and climate adaptive breeds, especially indigenous breeds of the livestock of India. The second one is the strengthen smallholder integration to cooperatives, because the whole system works around the cooperatives. Gulatis always keeps writing about these articles regarding the strength of the cooperative system in India, digital platform to improve market access, and also to not only for the farmers, but also to the policymakers, because 70% of this whole the milk chain works with the unorganized sector. Only 30 is where we have the organized sector. Animal health is another important component, because the government of India is planning to declare India free of foot and mouth disease very soon. So we have the provision for the export, especially the milk and the meat component. And so we have to invest in the veterinary services and the disease forecasting and the vaccination program. We have taken a new program now with the ICMR. It is called SEHAT, S-E-H-E-T, because it stands for a Hindi word for health. It stands for the Science Excellent for Health through Agriculture Transformation. It's a mega, very ambitious program. Initial budget, something like few hundred crore rupees, the combined ICAR as well as from the ICMR. And the fourth point is the sustainable feed and fodder systems. As we know that almost 70% of the total, the cost is only the feed. So we have to go for the agroforestry and the crop residue management aspect. And the fifth point for policy change can be encourage value addition, because as you know that though we have the highest milk produce in the world, but as far as the value addition is concerned, is only about 30%. So India is the only country where we have the habit of the fluid milk consumption. So we should encourage going for the value added product, especially maybe we should have in the market, instead of the Dutch cheese, we should have the buffalo cheese in all the supermarkets, as well as the goat products, because we know the beneficial properties of the goat as well as the camel milk, I think, with the premium price. The next point is the promotion of the indigenous breeds and the biodiversity conservation, combining them with the scientific breeding program to improve productivity without compromising the resilience. I have 3 more points. Yeah. The 7th one is enable digital transformation via livestock. Traceability is an important issue here, because if you want to really go for the export, we need to have the traceability from which part it has come from, whether it's free from diseases. Mobile advocacy services and their data-driven decision making tools. Everything works only when you have money. Okay, without finance, nothing really works. So obviously, you have to have for the green finance and the insurance tailored for livestock sector, especially for them, credit for sustainable practices and risk mitigation against disease as well as the climate shock. The other most important thing is food safety and quality. If you're talking about the export, so without that, the safety and quality, if you are not able to make it out, so we'll not be able to market these products. So standard with the better regulation certificates, not only to boost the domestic awareness for the consumer, but also for export competitiveness. And the last point is that we have to foster circular bioeconomic approach, integrating the livestock as well as the crop together, promoting organic fertilizers, efficient resource recycling aligned with the sustainable goals of the Viksit Bharat. So thank you so much for this opportunity, and all a good day. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Raghavendra, for those thought-provoking remarks on livestock farming and the related policy changes we need to support our Viksit Bharat ambitions. Now, our next guest for the day, Dr. Himanshu Pathak. Before joining ICRISAT as Director General, Dr. Himanshu Pathak served as Secretary of the Department of Agriculture Research and Education, DARE, as we all know, Government of India, and Director General of ICAR. Dr. Pathak has over 32 years of experience in climate resilience, soil and crop management, and sustainable agriculture. Over to you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you very much. When you said 32 years, I thought, okay, I'm now getting old. But that may not be the case. Honorable Professor Ramesh Chandji, Mathura Madam, Clemens, my colleague, Dr. Bhatta, and of course, Sahidur. Sahid, not Sahid. Sahid ka matlab dusra ho jata hai. And of course, in the audience, very distinguished personalities, Dr. Gulati, Dr. Joshi, Sudhishri, Sanjay Agrawal ji, of course, Babu, and of course, many others, my former colleagues of ICAR or ICR. In CG, they call it ICAR. I don't know why, but they call it. But we still say, and I still say ICR, and they ask, ICR, where is that? That's ICAR. Okay, that's fine. Yeah. And of course, all the CG colleagues, ladies and gentlemen. You know, for last 2-3 days, I was reading some books on policy because this is not my area. And let me confess, almost all the references which I got and the authors, all the authors are here in this room. All of them are here. So for last 20-25 years, whatever policy in agriculture, starting from Professor Ramesh Chandji, Gulati Sahab, Joshi ji, and of course, I can take all the names, all the papers, 99.99% papers were authored by them. Sir, your paper defining innovation, I think yourself and Juneja. So I was just remembering when you say innovation, and then Sahidur was trying to explain what is innovation also. And then it came to my mind that policy is, of course, central to any development. Central to human development, central to agriculture, central to progress. And whatever you say, if the policy is not sound, then certainly it is not going to succeed. And probably that is the reason that all over the years, starting from history till today, and all over the world, probably the best brains have been associated with policy formulation. And now also this is no exception. Most of the best brains of agriculture are here in policy formulation. So you all understand the importance. And this country and the whole South Asia has really got a very long history of policy formulations, starting from Harappa Mohenjo-daro, and then of course Guptas, Mauryas, Slave dynasty, Mughals. They really had a very good tradition of policy formulations, and some of their policies are still being followed, including earlier ones, Mauryas, Chanakya, and all others. Then, of course, British came, and then policy formulation took a totally different dimensions. Everything was systematized and all of these things. And then, of course, after independence, lots of changes, lots of improvements, innovations have brought in. 3 years back, rather, we published a book, Indian Agriculture After Independence. And there is a chapter number 18, which was authored by Dr. Suresh Palji, and then, of course, few others. So we have tried to compile how the policy formulation has evolved in this country and whole South Asia, particularly after independence. So there is all kinds of information available throughout the years. But then, if you see policy formulations, there are few challenges and barriers of policy formulation in this country and, of course, probably the whole world. The first challenge is the structural challenges. Lots of small and marginal farmers, all diversity, different crops, different resource level, different education, culture, and all kinds of differences. So when you try to combine all these differences into one kind of policy formulation, it is really a big challenge, very, very big challenge. Second is, of course, which we call as biophysical challenges. For example, climate change. It is disrupting almost anything. So you do something today and tomorrow you see something else, which probably you have never thought of. That, rainfall of more than 300 millimeter in half an hour. Now, who has thought of these kinds of scenarios and then formulated the policy? And not only this, several other kinds of things. Third one is, of course, technological. Of course, you talked about AI, but then there are several others which are available, and there are several others which are not available also. So that has remained another barrier. Financial, of course, my friend Dr. Bhatta talked about. Without financial support, whatever you do, it is not going to be effective. So that has remained a very big challenge or very big barrier for policy formulation. And then, of course, fifth one is geopolitical or political as such. The moment a new government comes, they try to find all the previous things or something and then start formulating new one. And when the war which is going on in many places, not only in one place, rather in many places, if you just close your eyes and you will find there are 15, 16 places in the world where all these disturbances are happening. In these kinds of scenarios, how can you formulate a policy? Somebody said that nowadays it has become much easier to formulate a policy for war rather than formulating a policy of peace. So formulating a policy of peace is much difficult than formulating a policy for war, which is much easier. And then probably in half an hour, somebody can formulate a policy. Okay, now let's go ahead this one. So these are the challenges for policy formulation in this country and of course elsewhere in the world. Now, what this particular platform, what my friend and of course Clemens also talked about, let me just share with you. When I was in ICR or ICAR, just after my joining, the DG IFPRI visited me. That's a kind of customary. So US Union was there in Krishi Bhavan. And somehow in the discussion, which he repeats almost in every meeting whenever I meet him, I asked, you tell me what you can do which ICAR cannot do. It's a very tough question. Nowadays, probably people will be asking me this question. But then, I don't know. But that time, and whenever I meet in any CG meeting, so you will announce, Himanshu asked me this question. But anyway, so when I was going through it, and in the website, of course, you have Clemens, you have really done a very good job. I shall request all of my friends present over here, you please go through the website where the details have been there. So there are certainly few things which this particular platform can really do, but certainly in collaboration with all our national partners, state governments, and I thank Arvind Padiji. He is here. So Arvindji, welcome, and thank you very much for kindly participating. And of course, you are going to give your inputs. So few things probably this particular platform will be able to give. One is, of course, global experience. It is not that national systems do not have, but probably CG is in a better position to bring all those experiences. Second one is co-creating with evidences. Evidence is really crucial. And of course, all my former speakers talked about it, particularly Madhura Madam really gave few examples, very good examples of that. And Madhura Madam, let me assure you that we are going to start this village level program with you and of course with many others. So this is the second one we can do. Third one is this new science and new tools, what Clemens, you talked about. All these new things were not available earlier. Now there are several models, several tools and techniques which will be really useful in formulating or innovating with this. Fourth one is, of course, capacity sharing and capacity building or capacity development, which we can really do together, bringing experts, because this is very specific field. And as I said, all over the years, best brains have been associated with policy formulation. And for even the best brain, you still need capacity sharing or capacity development, which we shall try to do. And then, of course, all of this putting together, this platform, we will try to take global experience and also reach to global communities, not only for India or South Asia, to achieve the goals of Viksit Bharat we talk about, where increasing productivity, profitability, climate resilience, sustainability, and all of these things which we can do. Just few areas of work, it is already there in the website. So I just selected 5 areas which this particular platform can do. One is foresight and prioritization, which all of us know how important it is. Market-led transformation, governance and policy repurposing. Repurposing is extremely important. Water, energy, food, environment nexus. And we can see lots of problems in some parts of the world, and of course, in this country as well. And then, of course, social policies, empowerment, and inclusion, which is extremely, extremely important. Many times we do not give proper place, proper importance to this particular aspect, but we must do that. Therefore, when we were going ahead with this work, I think few things which we would like to do. First one is, of course, mapping and sharing the evidences, without which it is not going to work. Second one is, of course, identifying the key drivers of policy innovation or policy formulation, strengthening capacity for nurse partners, for state departments, for CG colleagues, and of course for others as well. Then, of course, developing some kind of pilot project together and then see how these things are going to work. And then, of course, co-creating all the necessary requirements of policy formulations. So friends, as I said, policy formulation has been an age-old process. There are n number of examples. Those who are more interested in studying agricultural policy in this country, there are some very good publications. One is, of course, History of Indian Agriculture by M.S. Randhawa Sahab. So there are 1 or 2 volumes which have described very clearly how the policies in agriculture, research, development, extension, education, all of those have evolved. And then, of course, our latest book also, Indian Agriculture After Independence. But here is a very good opportunity for all of us, our nurse partners, ICAR, state departments, and all others who have been engaged directly or indirectly in policy formulation, implementation, execution, and also sharing their knowledge, an opportunity to please come together. Because this is something which is extremely, extremely important. And this is something which is becoming more important when the uncertainties are increasing. When the time span of any policy is very short, maybe next month you have to have a new policy because something else has developed just yesterday or maybe day before. So with these few words, once again, I welcome each and every one of you. And thank you very much for being here and supporting this particular endeavor. Thank you all. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Himanshu, for those insightful remarks on how sound policy forms the foundation of all development initiatives and for shedding light on policy changes and the solutions. Now, to lead our keynote, please welcome our guest of honor, Dr.
My time is already
Sure. Over to you, Professor.
Thank you. Organizer of this important event, Dr. Himanshu ji, from IFPRI side, Shahidur Rahman ji, and from ICR side, we have Dr. Bhatta representing, I understand, ICR, and our friend who has come all the way from Washington, DC, and Dr. Madra Swaminathan. Really, it's a great day that I got opportunity to meet my seniors, Dr. Gulati, Dr. Joshi, my friends, contemporary, and Sanjay ji, and many others, and you, and also nice to see a young breed of researchers. First of all, I really can't remain without saying that I feel so happy that Dr. Himanshu Pathak is taking interest in history. So history is a great teacher. And why I am saying so, that ICRISAT used to publish a journal, India's Agri-History Journal, something like that. I read only only a few issues, not volumes, and I found it quite revealing. I don't know what is the status of that journal now. So with your remarks today, I think if you can do something to continue that publication in some way, then many of the new generation will have great learning of past of India's agri history. In fact, last year I was in Australia, and one person, a great agriculturist, I forgot her name, she was associated with this, and she asked me whether you are continuing with that journal or not. So I think happy that you made mention about it. Then I want to start with the theme for today's meetings. And at the outset, I just want to again make use of this gathering to say one thing, that you find this is not reflection on anyone who has earlier spoken. In general, I feel like that why people are not taking seminar, debate, discourses very seriously these days. So one of the bureaucrats, he told me this thing. He said, वहाँ लोग उस चीज पे तो बोलते नहीं जो टाइटल होता है, वो बोलते हैं जो उनके पास नॉलेज है. So I think this is something we should be avoided. At least today's theme is so pertinent that if we focus on the three terms which are mentioned in the concept note, and I hope the concept note was circulated to the participants, I begin from there. So there are three important terms in the concept note. One is, of course, agri-food system transformation. Second is this evidence-based policy, and third is policy innovation hub. So in 10 minutes time, I will briefly, quickly touch, maybe I will not be able to give adequate background justification because time is only 10 minutes allotted to me. So briefly, I would just touch on it. The first thing, I think it is very, very important that in all our policy, planning, research, if we move to the concept of agri-food system to the extent it is possible. It is not an easy concept to adopt because it involves complexity, it involves all the interconnection. It doesn't deal only with the barter yield relationship, fertilizer yield relationship, or marketing or subsidy and investment. It is a holistic concept. It looks at what different actors are doing, what different activities are doing, what is happening to natural system, what is happening to environment, what is happening to next generation, present generation, what will be effect of anything on producer, on consumer, value chain, based like that. In fact, I have attended all the 4 summits on food system. Every time I go there, and I used to emphasize it, this summit, the person who played role in food system, David Navarro, he joined one day before the summit was to start. He couldn't come to Ethiopia, but I used to emphasize with him, and he used to carry that message that we discuss the issues related to food, but I don't see anywhere this food system approach as a focus of discussion. And in fact, the food system initiative was started with that we are just mindlessly pursuing one objective or two objective or three objective without looking at trade-off and the holistic approach. So if we can just carry from today that how we can think of policy, how we can think of development of technologies that pay some attention to the extent to this food system. Like if somebody is developing variety of rice, yes, yield increase is the goal, that is the primary goal. And second is a resistance. And third, maybe little bit efficiency, response to fertilizer or water. But if we can look at how it will be affecting emission, how it will be affecting groundwater, how it will be affecting biodiversity, And can we do something in that development process that some attention is paid to these aspects, because they are very, very important for future. Otherwise, we will be just doing something for ourselves and ignoring interest of future generations. Then under food system transformation, four goals are mentioned: nutrition security, climate resilience, farmer prosperity, and sustainable economic growth. In the last two decades for Indian agriculture, to my mind, have been momentous. So much change has happened. So much good and bad has happened in Indian agriculture. And so much diversity is there that in one state you find last 15, 20 years agriculture growth rate is 7%. 7% growth in agriculture, amazing, okay? And there is two states where growth rate is negative. So, I mean, you have so much experience that somewhere you have 7% growth and somewhere you have negative growth. Somewhere you find big acceleration in growth. Somewhere you find big deceleration in growth. So you just get so much about economic growth, experience of economic growth from India's study at national level and at state level. Similarly, for nutrition security, climate resilience, farmer prosperity, lot of interesting patterns are there. In fact, I don't want to advertise it. I have completed a paper I have given to my Niti staff to just prepare it in the print form. Hopefully next week it will be there. I try to cover all these aspects, and in the process, I just learned that there is so much misperception or negative information about agriculture in the country that we express concern, great concern about something, but we are already doing very well in that thing. And on the other side, we take credit in achieving something, and there are big challenges in that. So how perceptions are different than reality, which I would say is again related to something evidence-based, which Dr. Pathak also alluded to some extent, that we form perception based on some impressions, not based on what are the evidences. So as a researcher, we need to do something to correct this perception, to correct this impression of what is happening in agriculture. Like I can give you one example. We are always talking Indian agriculture is becoming very much vulnerable. Climate change is happening as if some great collapse is going to happen just next year, 2 years. Some event is going to happen. In fact, if you look at the resilience in Indian agriculture, between decade of 80s and the latest 10 years, the resilience has improved 3 times. And how I'm drawing this conclusion? The standard deviation in the growth rate in agriculture in a decade has come down to 1/3. And instability in growth rate is the best indicator of what is happening to resilience of the system. So to learn that what is that which has helped us in time is over, madam? Huh? Oh, okay. Then let me just come to briefly evidence-based policy. I think this is very much needed. And I have seen that whenever we deviated from evidence-based policy, we land up in big trouble. Right now, country is in that trouble. Dr. Gulati also write about it, that if we are just keeping urea price frozen, there's no evidence to say that we should do it. There's no evidence to say that we should do it. But we are doing something against evidence. So we are facing the music. Similarly, again, with all due respect for whatever policy we were doing, Dr. Madra, I used to discuss this with your dad when he proposed that 50% above all those things. Sir, can we generate some evidence why it should be 50%? Why not 30%? Why not 80%? Why not 90%? Why not 2%? What is the evidence on which it is based, so that we can have a policy which respond to the requirement of the agriculture, rather than having a mechanical formula that it has to be 50% like that, which right now has become CSEP hands are bound. They can't play any role now in changing the cropping pattern. So these two examples why I gave is that if we do something based on evidence, that brings I would say optimum results. But what is happening is now last 2 decades, the beginning started in the between 2000 around 2008-9, when without any evidence, without any need, we went for loan waiving in the country. The same thing Maharashtra government has done. I am in the press condemning that this is not the right decision. No drought has happened, no flood has come, still they are going for loan waiving. So what is happening in the country, a very dangerous trend, that is that from evidence-based policy, we first shifted to political economy-based policies. From that, now we are moving to populist policies. If as a researcher, we do not highlight the dangers and risk associated with deviating from evidence-based policy to populist policy, Arvind Party is there. What is the logic to give 1,000 rupee per quintal for rice production? But whosoever, any farmer in Odisha, you produce 20 quintals, you get 20,000 rupees, just in addition to whatever MSP, etc. These kind of practices are rampant. And I am worried that if they are not stopped, really we are heading toward very, very difficult situation. So that is to me meaning of evidence-based policy. I am violating time by taking 1 minute about this innovation hub which you have created. I think this is very much needed. This is very much needed because Dr. Jat is not there. I wanted to say in his presence that system and institutions are becoming intolerant to objective policy results. If somebody in ICR writes against subsidy on urea, people are writing, if somebody, I don't know how it will be taken by ICR. I mean, so much sensitivity we have created. But if there is an innovation hub and something is said through that hub, something which need to be said, which is in the interest of the society. So I look at this hub to play that role. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Ramesh Chand, for those inspiring words. And like always, it was so interesting. And we can't agree more with you. And Dr. Padi, we apologize for the delay in inviting you to speak. And today's guest of honor, Dr. Arvind Kumar Padi. He's a 1996 batch Indian Administrative Services officer. He brings nearly 3 decades of experience in public administration, governance, agriculture policy, and institutional leadership. Prior to his current role as the Additional Chief Secretary to the Government, Revenue and Disaster Management Department of Government of Odisha, he served as a Principal Secretary, Department of Agriculture and Farmers Empowerment, Government of Odisha. Over to you, Dr. Padi.
Thank you, Dr. Rajalakshmi. Can you please confirm that you are able to hear me?
Yes, we are, but please speak a bit loud.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir. So I will just begin, sir. Good morning, everyone. And I'm very happy to see many known faces there, Professor Ramesh Chand and all the dignitaries on the days. And I'm told that Dr. Gulati is also there in the audience, Dr. Joshi, Dr. Salandar, Dr. Sanjay Agarwal, and every one of you. At the outset, I sincerely thank the IFPRI, ICRISAT, ICAR, CGIAR for this opportunity. I always feel excited to share my views on a subject that is focus of the policy space. As Professor Ramesh Chand just told, evidence-led food system transformation will have a very huge impact on realizing the objectives of Viksit Bharat. This is both a very timely and important thing. It is also a very fitting coincidence that we have gathered on the World Health Day today. Today is 7th of April, the World Health Day, and a moment that reminds us that food system is not a choice. It is essential to ensure safe, nutritious, and sustainable diets. It's also not merely about feeding populations. They are about nourishing population, people, sustaining livelihoods, and protecting our planet. Transforming food systems is central to human health. What we grow, how we produce, and what we consume directly influence nutrition outcomes, climate resilience, and the well-being of the future generations. India's food system, this is a very informed audience. I would just like to just put it on record that the food systems is a very complex and adaptive ecosystem. The traditional linear farm to plate approach is no longer sufficient. Instead, it must be understood as an interconnected system comprising production, distribution, and consumption. Meaningful transformation requires alignment across policy, markets, and societal behavior. Dr. Himanshu Pathak also was hinting at this, while also addressing cross-cutting dimensions such as climate, gender, technology, and geopolitics as we know today. I would like to put across my thoughts as a policymaker, my role in the space of agriculture policy making. And in fact, today's policy landscape highlights an important lesson of adopting outward forms of successful models without internalizing their context, adaptability, and institutional capacity, which often leads to suboptimal outcomes. Professor Ramesh Chand, at the helm of agriculture policy making of our country, was very forthright when he speaks about some inconsistencies in the policy making. And to overcome this, we need a more integrated approach, one that combines field level insights, robust data, contextual sensitivity, and agile implementation. Nowhere is this more critical than in food system transformation and climate change mitigation. A systems based approach rather than a scheme based approach is the need of the hour that I want to emphasize. In Odisha, our policies reflect this shift. Professor Ramesh Chand spoke about one particular political economy dimension that I cannot comment being a civil servant, but I would just like to speak about our policies shift from a narrow focus on production to a broader vision encompassing income enhancement, nutrition security, and climate resilience. Just please allow me to share a few examples from our experience at scale, that is from my immediate past assignment as Agriculture Secretary of Odisha. The first one that I would like to speak of is on the comprehensive rice fallow management. This initiative demonstrates how evidence and technology can drive transformation. By bringing fallow lands under cultivation during the Rabi season, we achieved about 97% of our 4 lakh hectares target, about a million acres target, benefiting over 5 lakh farmers. Digital tools in our state, such as the Adapt portal, enabled real-time monitoring and targeted interventions. In collaboration with IFPRI, for which I'm really grateful to Dr. Shahid and his team, the program has been evaluated and we are encouraged by its positive outcomes. I would like to cite another small initiative but very impactful intervention is about the seed systems for land races and traditional varieties. This initiative exemplifies the convergence of tradition, science, and policy. Farmers, particularly in the tribal regions of our state, they have long conserved the diverse land races or the traditional varieties. And many of you would know that the Koraput region of Odisha is globally recognized as a center of origin for the Os rice genotypes. Professor Swaminathan was always espousing this particular biodiversity hotspot. However, until recently, there was no standardized framework to promote these varieties. Through the Millets Mission, the Sri Anna Vision of the state, a systematic evidence-based process was undertaken. After 2 years of trials and thereafter, we have released varieties such as Bati, Mami, Kalia, and Varti that demonstrated strong performance. And this success was made possible through collaboration among ICAR, OUAT, the custodian farmers and conservers of this seed germplasm, and the civil society organizations and the department, marking a very new paradigm in the evidence-based policy making. I would like to cite another example, a small example, but again, very huge impact, the participatory machinery development. Building on the pilot learnings and the ergonomic research by the ICR and the OUAT, the Department of Agriculture introduced a standard operating procedure for women-centric ergonomic testing of agricultural machinery. And I'm informed, though ICR has done some work, but this particular SOP is the first of its kind when we ensure that the farm equipment is designed and evaluated with women farmers in mind. It incorporates parameters such as each of operation, the physical strain, posture, heat stress, and overall health impact. This structured and inclusive approach promotes both efficiency and equity in the agricultural mechanization. I would have spoken about the women-led nutritious food system, but because of time constraint, I'm not delving onto that. That I will speak on another occasion if there is an opportunity. Though it is equally critical and expansive area. At the end, I would say that beyond these initiatives, Odisha has also strengthened its commitment through a dedicated climate resilience and gender responsive cells alongside robust data systems and digitization efforts. I would like to acknowledge and appreciate the continued support of IFPRI in this initiative, ICAR, and many other organizations there, and other knowledge partners in this journey. Platforms such as this India Policy Innovation Hub, they are very valuable for states like Odisha. They enable us to translate field level innovations into scalable policy solutions while also learning from national and global experiences. Going forward, strengthening the evidence policy implementation loop will be extremely crucial. Policies must not only be well designed but also be adaptive, context specific, and outcome oriented. Odisha remains committed to working with national and global partners to advance inclusive, resilient, and sustainable food systems, contributing meaningfully to the vision of Viksit Bharat. In my new role as Additional Chief Secretary, Revenue and Disaster Management Department, we are focusing on integrating data sets and policy interventions to improve access to land and resources, particularly for women farmers. We are also working to embed a food systems approach within the reduction. Disaster management also is a part of my assignment, with women playing a central role in climate action. I warmly invite all of you to collaborate with us in building a more gender just society with stronger food systems. I can say that if we align evidence, policy, and grassroots level innovations, we can build food systems that are resilient, inclusive, and nutrition driven, which are fully aligned with the vision of Viksit Bharat. I wish to thank again the ICRISAT, IFPRI, ICAR, and the CGIAR for this great opportunity. And I'm very happy to see many esteemed people in the audience. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Padi, for those powerful remarks and for your dedication in resolving the issues in the agriculture sector in Odisha. So now we are almost at the end of the inaugural session. We have certainly had an enlightening start to the day, but we are running late. So we'll do this quick. We will all take a group picture just outside this hall on the stairs, and which will be followed by a 10-minute tea break, and we will assemble back here for session 1. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, sir.
We're the best policy ambassador we had.
Just for the speakers.
Okay.
For your inspiring remarks.
Yeah.
It's not easy days for this. Everywhere in the world, the evidence is a bit.
All of us are giving class.
Yeah, that's okay.
Now, so ନମସ୍କାର। ମୁଁ ଜଏନ୍ କରିପାରିବି। ହଁ ମୁଁ ଏବେ ଜଏନ୍ କରିଗଲି। ଏବେ ତ ଆପଣଙ୍କ ସରିଲା ବୋଧେ ସେସନ।
हेलो ये HP करके
हेलो हेलो Am I audible?
So just 1 minute. We're just doing a quick recording. I'll just get you online in a bit.
अभी वो लोग वहाँ पे रिकॉर्डिंग कर रहे हैं दफ्तर वाले let them finish. I want something to be there at least. मेरे बॉस को पता नहीं है जो ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन है ऑनलाइन ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन है अमित वर्मन को मैसेज करना है कॉन्टेक्ट she doesn't have him and him on her agenda नहीं them on the agenda we'll be working with yesterday's agenda just hold कर फिर कॉपी दे दो
डिटेल्स मालिका दी डिटेल्स के साथ
एक बार इशिता को बुला दो इशिता खोलेगी यहाँ से हटा दिया मैं
So the right click is going forward?
Yes. Wait, one second. Forward जाने वाले right slider
There is no slider, Ishita. There is no slider apparently. Can you try with the keyboard front and back? This thing. There's a keyboard in the bottom. Pull out the shelf.
Okay, so this key, yeah. I'll keep this over here. Key is forward. This one, this is back. Okay.
W 805834 बस 805834 ना Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. Can I ask? So, excuse me, we have to just check quickly. Wrong with yeah. We have to ask them also to do it. Wait, Ishita. Wait. Give him 5 minutes. How much time do we have?
Oh. हेलो हेलो मैम, मैं यूपी से डॉक्टर अनीता बोल रही हूँ, जेंडर कोऑर्डिनेटर हूँ। हाँ, मेरी एडीए मैडम को आपने एक फॉर्मेट भेजा है ना, वो जो फर्टिलाइजर वाला है, तो वो पूछे कि हम डिस्ट्रिक्ट वाइज
It's not. Okay, I request all the online participants to kindly just quickly turn on their videos, and we'll just do an audio check. Shubhranshu sir, I can see you there. Good morning. Dr. Anilja, thank you for joining us. Good morning. Shubhranshu sir, would you like to share your presentation, or would you like us to share it?
You share it. I'll just go through. I've already seen it properly, and
Okay.
I will ask for changing.
Okay, got it. अनिल झा सर, थैंक यू एंड गुड मॉर्निंग। आपकी प्रेजेंटेशन है या आप बोलना चाहेंगे, या लाइक और वुड यू लाइक अस टू? सो यू आर म्यूटेड, सॉरी, सो यू आर म्यूटेड।
गुड मॉर्निंग। मैं आपकी बात कहना चाहूंगा, बोलना चाहूंगा, नॉट विद द प्रेजेंटेशन, द प्रेजेंटेशन।
अच्छा, ठीक है, ओके, गॉट इट। सो
उनका फोटो
सर की प्रेजेंटेशन है।
It is going as a online participant. Somebody has joined as HP. May I request your name and your
हिंदी में बात करता हूँ। Hello. Yeah, good morning, online participant. I think someone has joined with the name HP. May I know who is? Are you from Uttar Pradesh, or can you please switch on your video? The participant with the name HP.
Ma'am.
अच्छा आप can you unmute yourself and
Morning, ma'am. Could you kindly unmute yourself and just introduce yourself quickly so that we know?
आप कहाँ से ज्वाइन किया आपने मैडम?
यूपी से सर, यूपी।
ओके क्या मैडम आपका क्या नेम एंड डेजिग्नेशन?
डॉक्टर अनीता सिंह, जेंडर कोऑर्डिनेटर हूँ सर, आत्मा।
So okay, so we will be requesting you to maybe briefly speak about agriculture roadmap or some and innovations in Uttar Pradesh. Is that okay?
जस्ट अ मिनट सर, मैं बात करती हूँ सर।
Can you share your mobile number? We can send you some
yes,
some points.
94157
94157
11520
11520
जी।
एक तो 3 और 3 6 और 3 9 10 ओके
94157 11520 राइट?
यस
थैंक यू सो मच। इसको शेयर करो जरा, वो डायरेक्ट आपका फोन दीजिए, मैं व्हाट्सएप में हेलो कर रहा हूँ। नंबर 1
What did she say her name, Anita?
करते हैं और क्वेश्चन करेंगे तो आपका रेफरेंस सही पे आएगा, तो ये लोग क्या बोल रहे हैं वो सब मुझे भेज दीजिए प्लीज। नेक्स्ट टाइम कराएंगे। अच्छा सर वो मुझे भेजिए, आप वाले से नहीं हो रहा। सर मुझे फॉरवर्ड कर देना, वो जो डॉक्टर उत्तम जी से किए थे इनको फॉरवर्ड कर देना। जी मुझे कर दो, आप वाले में शायद अभी इंटरनेट नहीं चल रहा है। अनीता जेंडर कोऑर्डिनेटर ATA, अनीता सिंह जेंडर कोऑर्डिनेटर।
दिनेश सर, मैंने लास्ट जो ममता ने भेजा था वो लिया है।
All done. So only name tax, table tax has to be placed on Dinesh, one of the team member, and Santam Patna. Yes.
अर्जेंट बुला दीजिए।
So now we move into our first technical session for the day, food system prioritization in Viksit Bharat. So now I'll introduce the chairs for the session and request you to come up on stage. It's my pleasure to introduce to you Dr. Himanshu Pathak, who joined us in the inaugural session, Director General, ICRISAT. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir, for coming up on stage. And Dr. Shushma Sudhishri. She's a veteran soil and water conservation engineer with over 3 decades of experience in natural resources management. She currently serves as a technical expert with the National Rainfed Area Authority, Government of India. Thanks for joining us, ma'am, today. So under the guidance of our chairs, we'll explore the price policies, climate change, and trade with Dr. Ashok Gulati, and followed by a deep dive into the state roadmaps for 3 states. So now I'll leave it to the chairs to introduce the speakers under theme 1 and theme 2. And just for the information of our chairs, under theme 2, we have 3 people joining us online. Shri Subhanshu Mishra, who will be joining us online, and Shri Anil Kumar Jha, who will also be joining us online. And there is a representative from the Agriculture Department, Government of UP, Dr. Anita Singh, who will also be joining us online. And Dr. Devesh Rai from IFPRI is in person with us, and Dr. Sangram Keshari Patnaik is also in person with us. So over to you, sir and ma'am.
So friends, welcome back. Oh. So friends, I'm not going to take any time, not even a single sentence to introduce Dr. Gulati. I don't know whether there is hardly anybody who doesn't know more than me about Dr. Gulati. So sir, it is indeed a great honor and pleasure for all of us, and particularly for me, to invite you for this presentation, of course, listening to you, sir. Sir, over to you.
Can we have the presentation? Thank you very much, Dr. Sudha Pathak ji, co-chair Sushma ji, and many familiar faces we have interacted over decades. I was so happy to hear Dr. Ramesh Chand with a very bold statement on the price policy. I said he has opened the doors for me on that. I have 15 minutes and I would rush through some of the slides because those topics have been already discussed, but maybe something new, I'll put it. Ramesh, for you, it may be somewhat repetitive because we last week discussed this in Punjab. This is the food system. There is a production part, there is a consumption part at the other end, and then there is in between the question of marketing, stocking, and all that. But the production part is being challenged by environmental sustainability, the climate change issue, and we need to talk about that. The consumption part, which initially we had the vision and objective of food security largely in India, I think that more or less we have achieved. But nutritional security for the next 10 years, 20 years is going to be on the table. Therefore, how do we tackle with that? We talked about policies. I'm also going to talk about policies, products, and practices. And these things cannot be achieved without partnership. And therefore, a lot of partnership would be needed in this. Is it moving? Next, please. We have to keep producing more mouths globally as well as in India. So there is no stopping. 9.7 billion we will be on this planet, humanity as a whole. So the world has to keep on. But the other part which we normally don't talk about, there is going to be very fast increasing urbanization. And therefore, there will be a major issue of producing in the hinterlands and taking it to the urban areas. And that requires a lot in the marketing part, that chain, the value chain that we need to build in. Many parts of the world, especially Africa, India, still the holdings are fragmenting and becoming smaller and smaller. And there's going to be a challenge. Climate change is improving, is coming on our head already, although President Trump may say it's the biggest hoax of the 21st century. Soil, water, air, and biodiversity. These are the 4 pillars on which we need to pay attention because we are damaging some of that. Okay, price policy in India. On the output side, there is a minimum support price that was actually initiated in 1965. That is the time Agriculture Prices Commission in January 1965 and Food Corporation of India both were created within a week's distance. And the time at situation in the country was literally from ship to mouth. We were hugely dependent on imports. Our production was 10 million tons of wheat, and we were importing 10 million tons, and we didn't have the money to buy it, and it was all against PL 480 rupee payment. Situation is very different today. And there were terms of reference given to Agriculture Prices Commission, which had cost into it, but it also had issues related to how much is the demand, what is the international price hovering, how much import, export, and all these things, and what will be the impact of these on consumers. Where do we stand? I think Dr. Ramesh Chand said that, and I would like to point that out. When we adopted this so-called diluted Swaminathan formula, A2 plus FL, although Dr. Swaminathan always, perhaps in one of the presentations to the ministry, it was C2, but government said, okay, A2 plus FL and minimum 50% on top of that. And Dr. Ramesh Chand actually questioned that. The problem that I have with that is it is a cost curve. It is a supply curve. It doesn't look what the demand is. And you keep on, if your cost is high, you get even higher MSP. And you keep on producing that without looking at the demand side. The market economy tells you that there is a supply side and there is a demand side. If you keep on producing more than what the demand is, there is going to be a disaster on that. And that's what is happening in some of the commodities. I'll give you an example on that. Issue of not looking at the demand side and looking only at the cost side. Where do we stand today in case of rice in particular? In fact, I wrote at that time when the government adopted this formula, I said, better now close down CACP. There is no purpose. It's anybody can calculate. You have the cost estimates coming from Director of Economics and Statistics. Any clerk can find out what is 50% plus on top of that. So this is where, instead of research evidence, you are going by the political economy of the day. And that is where the distortions are created. And I'll give you the example of what is happening to that distortion. In case of rice, today we are the largest producer, largest exporter. We are giving free rice and wheat to more than 800 million people. And even after that, on 1st of January, the buffer stock norm for rice was 7.6 million tons. And think about Pathak Sahab, how much we had. 7.6 million tons, we had about 68, 69 million tons. So 9 times the buffer stock norm. The cost of carrying it is so much. We calculated for the last 3 years how much excess buffer stock that we are carrying. The cost is about 35,000 crores. There is research evidence, and we are showing now to liquidate these stocks. What are we doing? We are throwing it into ethanol. It costs the FCI 43 rupees a kg rice, economic cost, and we are giving to ethanol plants at 23 rupees a kg. We call it broken, not fit for consumption. We create that. Why did we buy it if it is not fit for consumption? We are buying it. So this is the distortion that some of the policies create. And on top of MSP, when Chhattisgarh or Odisha give bonus, not just 5 rupees, 10 rupees, 800 and 1,000 rupees, massive distortion. We are literally buried under rice today. So that is a huge cost that the economy is incurring. There is ample research evidence on that, but political economy will not allow it to change. Okay, open-ended procurement, this is the policy. I want to come to the pricing of the inputs. Fertilizer, again, Dr. Ramesh pointed out that urea, yesterday's price of urea in the international market was touching $700 a ton. $700 a ton. The domestic price for urea for the farmer at 94 or 95 rupees per dollar is about 66, 67, less than $70. So 90% is literally the subsidy on that. P and K are relatively less subsidized, so there is a massive imbalance in the use of N, P, and K. Your research would tell us that the plant is consuming, when your granular urea is subsidized to 90%, but the soluble fertilizer is not subsidized. When you apply granular urea like this, plant is consuming 35 to 40%, rest is going in the environment, nitrous oxide, 273 times the carbon dioxide. Or it leaches into water, nitrate content goes up, and there are several diseases that are caused, blue baby syndrome and so forth. Even thyroid and diabetes, they say, is coming because of those things. So another thing on research evidence, we worked it out earlier in my previous incarnation at IFPRI. Shangan Fan, we did a paper published in an international journal that if you had 1,000 rupees or 1,000 crores or whatever the unit, where do you allocate? Do you allocate it to fertilizer subsidy? What is the return in terms of agriculture GDP? Or you work it on agriculture R&D? The net return, marginal return from fertilizer subsidy is less than the money you are putting in. Less than the money you are putting in. And in case of R&D, agriculture R&D, the return was 11 times more. In fact, now NIAP, I think Barthel's paper says 13 times more. So research evidence is there. But how much do we allocate? 10,000 crores less your budget ICR. One company called Bayer is spending 2.6 billion euros every year on agriculture R&D. So your budget of less than 1.1 billion, where it is going to take the country. And we are ready to give a fertilizer subsidy. Last year was 1,86,000 crores. This year in the budget is 1,70,000 crores. But given what is happening in the Middle East, I think this subsidy is definitely going to cross 2 lakh crores. So 2 lakh crores we are giving on subsidy where the return is less than what you put in. And you are putting 10,000 crores in agri R&D, which can give you 10 times, 12 times higher return. Research evidence is there. But political economy is give everything free. because that may fetch more votes, and that is not included in your AI and the modeling, that how many votes you get, not how much marginal return you get in terms of economics versus politics. So I think the political economy point needs to be included on that. Another thing is power subsidy, which is literally a killer, because the water table, Ramesh ji and we were there in Chandigarh last week. Water table, I think I have a slide on that. This is the fertilizer part. I think more or less I have covered on that. Distortion has increased after the nutrient-based subsidy because the ratio, price ratio, relative prices, and the relative use of NPK has got distorted and giving much less returns. This is the impact on soils. Much of our soils, you can see red or yellow. Red is less than 0.5. Soil organic carbon in our soils is much less. Dr. Ratanlal says it should be between 1 to 1.5. Our definitions are on the lower side. Punjab, Haryana soils are, he clearly says these are dead soils. So there is a huge price we are paying in terms of our soil structure and the productivity of those soils. And one of the reasons is fertilizer policy for that. Water, and this is related to the power pricing. And water table in Punjab and Haryana is going down by 1.7 feet every year. This is an alarming situation. Almost 69% of the blocks in Haryana and 78% of the blocks in Punjab are overexploited. Greenhouse gas emissions. When you are doing the rice cultivation, the greenhouse gas emissions, methane, nitrous oxide, carbon dioxide, burning, all that, when you calculate all these four levels of gas emissions, it's almost 5 tons per hectare. Now, if you want to reduce this, can you change the practices of the farmers, reward them for doing different practices that can reduce the greenhouse gas emissions, carbon credits, and so on and so forth? We may have to think about that. Climate change, ICAR and others have worked it out that there is going to be, in the short run and medium to long run, yield losses, but resilience, if the irrigation is increasing or there are more of drought-resistant varieties. But the extreme events are going to be increasing in intensity and frequency. So with that, there would be some damage to the crops. Even yesterday, I got a message from Punjab that because of the hailstorm and all that, there is some crop loss on that. On trade side, this is interesting that our trade latest exports of agriculture were $52 billion, imports about $38 billion. So we are a net exporter of agriculture so far, and all through from 2000 onwards, we have remained a net exporter of agriculture. China is the biggest net importer of agriculture in the world. And people may not be aware, even US is a net importer of agriculture. India, how long it will remain a net exporter, time will tell. But I think overall, our population is somewhat stabilizing, or that acceleration which Africa is experiencing is not there. So hopefully we can. And we have a capacity to produce more. With the existing technologies, existing resources, I think if we can have policies that promote more of precision agriculture, then we can easily feed till 2050. It should not be any problem. So I didn't talk on the consumption side. The biggest, I would say, the policy there is free food. Wheat and rice, 2,27,000 crores in this budget. And last year was also 2,28,000 crores. More than 800 million people. I don't think anywhere in the world, and when Dr. Ramesh Chand calculates in NITI, research evidence, that poverty is declining, whether you go by multi-dimensional poverty, 11% or even less now, or you go by the World Bank definition, which extreme poverty is like 5.3% or so, World Bank. So if you say 5% or 11% or even 15% or even 20%, I have no problem if you are giving so-called Antodaya people free food. But why are you giving to those who are on motorcycles and giving free food? What are you doing? Because the moment you give that free food, there is a leakage in the system. And then the prices for the farmers cannot improve if there is somebody dumping literally at zero price. So this is and 2,28,000 crores is not, this is the biggest subsidy in the budget, in a total budget of about 55 lakh crores. This is a huge distortion in the system. Vajpayee, he had a formula that Antodaya will get free, but the BPL people will have to pay at least 50% of the MSP, and the APL, above poverty line people, will have to pay at least 90% of the MSP price. If we can do that, then I think we can save a lot of resources which need to be put into precision agriculture and more of environmentally benign research and practices, and rewarding farmers for that. If we don't change that, and I doubt whether it can be changed, then we have a problem, big resources. I would like to, at present, we are importing pulses and oilseeds. We worked it out in Punjab, Haryana. The subsidies on rice are about 40,000 rupees per hectare in Punjab, and about 52,000 rupees per hectare in Haryana. Now, on pulses, you have a pulses mission, Atmanirbharta, and also on oilseeds. These are our biggest import items. They don't consume that much of water. They don't consume that much of fertilizer. If you create crop neutral incentives, that is, you give them at least 35,000, 40,000, those who shift from paddy to pulses or oilseeds, they are benign to your soil, they are benign to your water, they don't create that much of greenhouse emissions, then you can create a situation, what we call the crop neutral incentives, and hopefully we need to reduce, we are producing 152 million tons of rice from 52 million hectares. China produces 145 million tons from 29 million hectares. So we can increase the productivity there, but we have to reduce the area by at least 5 million hectares. And that area, if we put into other crops, pulses, oilseeds, or fruits and vegetables, then hopefully on the trade front will be much more, and on the environmental front will be much better. There was a question, and these are the last 1 or 2 slides. I was happy to see livestock being talked about because nobody talked about fishery. Fishery is the fastest growing segment in Indian agriculture. Last 10 years or so, 8.8% growth. Meat, 7.2, eggs, and all that. So the future of Indian agriculture and the policies need to be aligned to the emerging demand patterns. It has to be from plate to plow. That is demand-driven system, rather than, we were producing at that time and we were short of cereals. I'm done. So that issue, I think we need to, it doesn't go forward. Oops. That's fine. So we have to reorient those, and on the reorientation, repurposing of fertilizer policy, we are not saying abolish these subsidies. We are saying that if you give it directly to the farmer, then free up the prices, and NPK prices will be balanced. That's one possibility. Otherwise, given the situation today, when you're not getting gas from the Middle East, you may have to go for rationing of urea to start with if you don't want to change the price. Then you cannot say unlimited amount of urea will be available. You will have to ration, because 85% of the gas that is going to produce urea is being imported, and there is a huge problem right now on that front. So this is the time to bring in either rationing, quantitative restrictions, or directly give it to the farmer, whatever subsidy you have, and free up the prices. Then the balancing will take place. If you can't even do that, bring urea under nutrient-based subsidy, and some relative price change can be done. This is a big call, but I doubt whether government, maybe quantitative restrictions could be there. Last, on the nutrition side, 35% of our children below the age of 5 are stunted. Food is one of the reasons, but mother's education and also sanitization and safe drinking water. These are the critical parameters. We have done unit level analysis of 3 rounds of NHS. And we found that this is not going to be easy to tackle unless we work on all these 3 fronts. And something on the gene editing, I heard and I asked people, just got this message from, I think CSIR has developed rice that has 22% protein. 22% protein in rice was a shock to me. And they said this is being manufactured rather than through breeding process. There is the other, so maybe, but we have got zinc rich and rice and wheat and all those things. So I think we need to improve. We have to go from tonnage to more of nutrition. That is the bottom line, and maybe gene editing could be one way. So last slide, needs to be demand driven and globally competitive, should be climate resilient, repurpose those subsidies. I'm not saying abolish, repurpose those and reward for more environmental sustainability. Biofortification may be one of the ways to go and tackle the nutritional security. Fertilizers, fertilized soils. This fertilizer subsidy on one end and food subsidy on the other end. These are 2 big dinosaurs of policy. If we can streamline them and rationalize them, my calculation is we can save easily 50,000-60,000 crores every year. And that can be put on agriculture research and environmental sustainability issues, and Indian agriculture's future will be bright. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Professor Gulati. Sir, if you kindly take the seat on the dais. Friends, you can go on hearing Dr. Gulati hours together, maybe days together, I would say. And this is what evidence-based policy. And, there cannot be more striking examples than what Dr. Gulati showed. What are the evidences and how the policies are being formulated, and what are the gaps? Indeed, a gap. Thank you very much. Professor Gulati has been a staunch supporter of more funding for agriculture research and education, for last many decades rather. And of course, sir, as I have to go back to ICRISAT, so let me advertise for ICRISAT also. So when you talked about rice, I think these crops, which, sir, now I call them PMOs, pulses, millets, and oilseeds. And you know the strength of PMO everywhere. So probably these are the crops where we should really give more and more attention and more investment. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. I'm not going to summarize anything because all these things are and maybe at the end of all the presentations, we will be taking some of your comments and suggestions. Thank you very much. Can you invite the next one?
Thank you, sir. Since we are running late, so without wasting time, I will invite for the theme 2, that is state roadmaps for goals and what will be the pathways. So in this, there are 5 speakers. So just I will invite Sri Subhanshu Mishraji, who is the Additional Secretary of Department of Agriculture and Farmers Empowerment, that is that Government of Odisha. So Dr. Subhanshuji, please speak within 5 minutes, because you are running late. Those 6 minutes, I am reducing 1 minute. Okay. So please.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Susma. It's a privilege on my part to be part of such an esteemed delegation and discussion going on. So esteemed panelists led by Dr. Himanshu Pathak, DGI ICRISAT, sir, and Dr. Susma, Dr. Ashok Gulati, learned delegates on the other side who are participating. I beg apology. I would have loved to attend this conversation to learn some new things for the state. However, Odisha has have been given a session in this policy dialogue today. I would say Odisha has done certain things which our nation should also be exposed to some of the good things going, despite the fact that in Odisha, around 3/4 of the land is highland and medium land, and 70% of the land is highly acidic soil. Despite all that, evidence has shown that Odisha has been a predominantly rice growing state since ages. So when it is said that it is rice growing, so initial practice was not only rice. The cultivation practice was of integrated farming system where rice and fisheries and horticulture were all integrated together in every small household level in our state. But gradually, with the commercialization of agriculture concept, input centric agriculture took center stage, and it has changed our agricultural practice. And today we are more vulnerable to climatic hazards because of that, because we don't have foolproof mechanism that if crop fails, livestock sustains. If livestock somehow not remunerative, then fishery sustains. So this was the predominant practice in Odisha, which was gradually replaced by commercial agriculture. However, the government of Odisha has taken some of the very good initiatives, which I would enumerate some of them within a very limited time. I'd request the operator kindly go to the next slide, please. So you can see from the third slide that the inclusive and sustainable agriculture practice centers on equity, innovation, and sustainability. Every one of us here knows what these coinage of words mean. However, I will show in my presentation the relevance of these things as the slides proceed. The next one, please. So Odisha has initiated one of the very promising scheme called Odisha Millet Mission. Even though Odisha was not a predominantly millet growing state as like Karnataka or Maharashtra, but in Odisha also the millet cultivation has been taken to a next level because of the government's initiative, and now it is called the Sri Anna Vision. It is for nutrition and for farmers diversifying from paddy into millet farming. Why? Because majority of the land is highland, upland, and medium land, not a flat land which is conducive for paddy. So millets can be grown in such difficult situation, as Dr. Pathak was also very rightly telling that millet is a very important component in his plan of PMO. So in Odisha, we are going for procurement of millets also. So 8 lakh quintals of millets have been procured last year. Around 1.5 lakh farmers have been registered on Millet Pass. This is a procurement system software. Then the best thing is that millet is also integrated wherever the millets are produced. It is also integrated into the PDS distribution system by distributing PDS for local consumption because of its nutritional value. Apart from that, women SSGs are also leading this mission of Sri Anna Abhiyan. This is one unique initiative of the government. Apart from that, in Mukhyamantri Krishi Udyog Yojana, government of Odisha is giving 50% subsidy for agricultural entrepreneurship to women. So that means for men, it is 40% subsidy for capital investment in any agricultural enterprise, starting from agriculture, horticulture, then dairy farming, broiler, layer farming, and all kind of agricultural implements. In such a scheme, the government is prioritizing more and more participation of women into it. And majority of the beneficiaries are women, taking all the advantage of more subsidy from the government. Next, please. So in our department, recently, one gender responsive cell has been inaugurated, and IFPRI has been handed over to operate this center where gender disaggregated data and gender budgeting issues will be seriously dealt. Apart from that, it would also monitor, evaluate, and offer the departmental officers on various contexts of gender-related issues. Recently, we came up with one gender-sensitive machine development SOP, which has been notified. That means whether our agricultural implements are women-friendly or not. So this SOP has been developed by the Department of Agriculture, Government of Odisha. This is now submitted to BIS for also notifying that these machines will be procured by our government schemes if they qualify these parameters. Coming to the next scheme called Agriculture Production Cluster, as already it is a testified initiative of Government of Odisha, where around 93% of the farmers are small and marginal farmer in Odisha. So where the land maximum is 0.9395 hectare. So this is a small parcel of land. It cannot be allowing the farmers for a successful cultivation, successful or rewarding cultivation. So aggregation is the only way forward, and it has been tried and tested and found very successful in women-led agricultural transformation. So high value crop cultivation is happening in this agriculture production cluster, especially vegetable growing, and profit has been ensured in around 100 blocks out of 314 blocks of Odisha. So we have around 4 lakh women SHG farmers covered under this. They have been organized into producer groups, then producer companies, and apart from that, high value crops, around 1.5 lakh women farmers are directly going for high value crop, and that is under aggregation model only, and they are going for winner crop. That means when a specific vegetable would be much in demand, they plan the planting schedule so that it happens to reach the market early, so gets a very favorable price. And they are also source where we can promote more of chemical free farming, where we have shown some of the very positive result. It can be visualized in
Mr. Raji, please.
okay, sorry. So next please. So women SHGs are also a very important component. Next. We have a comprehensive rice fallow management and recently introduced around 4.5 lakh hectare of comprehensive rice fallow management. Generally, farmers after Kharif used to leave their farmland empty. So it also increases our productivity and also improves the soil quality by putting pulses into the fallow period. So this is also clicking in Odisha. We have a climate resilience cell in this department to offer views and integrate climate resilience into agricultural policies and programs in Odisha. Next, please. Climate advisory services is happening by Krushi Samruddhi helpline in Odisha, which is a dedicated helpline where around 80 lakhs Krushak have been registered and they can ask any kind of advisory service from us. The PMFBI, around 22 lakhs farmers have been enrolled and provided support with. Next. The best part is that in PMFBI, the state government is bearing the insurance premium for the farmer also. The farmer has to pay only 1 rupee. Some of the innovative agroforestry schemes are also happening in Odisha. I would have gone into the details, but time is very less. Sorry. Jaldhara scheme is there, where farm pond promotion is happening, where through machinery use, we can allow people to go for farm ponds and organized way go for integrated farming system. Next. FPO-led aggregation, digital farm registry. Odisha has recently got the award from Government of India, and 150 crore has been received from Government of India for introducing digital farm registry, and farmer registry is going on very fast. Around 14-15 lakhs farmers have been already registered, and the total database of PM Kisan is around 35-40 lakhs. We have reached around 14-15 lakhs of farmer registry. So soon targeted distribution of benefits from the Government of India and Government of Odisha side should be very easily monitored because of the digital interface. Next, please. integrated farming system in Odisha, there are 24 models of integrated farming system as per the site conditions, basing on agri-horti, agri-silvi. These support various kind of farming models are also there with introduction of livestock and all. So government is subsidizing the farmer also. Then there is a scheme called Reward, where watershed management is there. So it is implemented in 17 clusters across 5 districts. Next, please. Next. The best the initiative of Department of Agriculture is in the GIHS initiative. So this is globally important agricultural heritage site. Despite promoting more production, the government is also promoting for maintaining the biodiversity of two, especially Gandhamardan Hills and Mahendragiri Hills, where there is much diversity of crop and life biodiversity is there. So along with FAO's support, we are shortly claiming that these hills are GIHS site, so that the variety and traditional varieties available in those places can be maintained for ages to sustain the livelihood of the locality. Next, please. So there are innovative projects also being taken up through support from international organizations like ICRISAT, IRI, and CHES, IIHR. So these are some of the initiatives where gravity-based irrigation in tribal landscape has been tried and tested by support from ICRISAT. Then next, please. So we have tried and tested a model where water hyacinth biomass can be converted into a high quality compost with increasing pressure on fertilizers and less availability or kind of chemical pollutioning of our soil and water ecosystem. The need for composting whatever is available on a circular economy model. Water hyacinth is a big menace in our pond water bodies, and this has been successfully converted into an enterprise by the support of ICRISAT. Thank you.
Rajiv, please.
Yeah. So I'll conclude with this, that Odisha's vision for 2047 agriculture to be one among top 5 states in terms of per capita income, 90% plus irrigated area with efficient climate smart water use, leading producer of 5 high value cash crop, resilient agriculture to drive sustainable livelihoods, and 50% plus farmland ownership, sole or joint, with women ownership. So this is our vision for 2047 as defined by Government of Odisha. So thank you. I would not go into all these things. This is all. Odisha model is a replicable framework for inclusive and sustained growth. So I believe that today's deliberation will surely be very successful, and my colleague Dr. Sangram Patnaik is also attending this thing. Any initiative of Odisha can also be further discussed. Thank you, sir. Thank you all for giving me this opportunity.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mishra. May I request Debesh Roy as well as Sangram Kesari Patnaik Saab to please be on the dais. So, Mr. Mishra, please be with us. Maybe after all these presentations, we shall take a few questions and suggestions. But thank you very much for highlighting all these new policies and developments in Odisha agriculture. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Please.
Thank you. Now I'll request Dr. Sangram Kesari Patnaik for his presentation.
Thank you. Respected guests on the dais and off the dais. I have no presentation. I have short time. The side time is that because our ex-additional chief secretary, Dr. Arvind Kumar Padhi, and our additional secretary also discussed about Odisha condition. So something I can highlight here also, because I am not a researcher, not an academician. From our own experience from extension and policy making and in formulating of schemes, I can highlight some Odisha issues. What Sir has discussed in Sri Anna Abhijan, millet. The Pathak Sir has told before that PMO. But millet was actually very poor man's food as there previously, because last 4 to 5 years effort, we have changed it from farm to plate. And everywhere we have millet cafes in government organizations, in private organizations, in hotels and chefs also. This is the bright example of Odisha. And another 2-3 examples I will tell because time also short. There is a scheme, Mukhyamantri Krishi Udyog Yojana, where we want to make the farmer an entrepreneur. Initially, last 10 to 15 years, the progress was very slow because the subsidy was back-ended subsidy. Then we have decided that we may give it a front-ended subsidy but some problem arises. If we give front-ended subsidy, then subsidy may be misutilized. We make it a mirror account because front-ended subsidy will be given, but it will be reserved in the bank account. When he will complete the entire project, then he will get the subsidy. These are initiatives. And other initiatives Sir has taken. I will not take much time, but I have taken many lights from all the esteemed and brilliant delegates here. I shall take something from Pathak Sir's deliberations, Ramesh Chand's deliberation, and Gulad Sir's deliberation. Sir has told that we have to do on pilot-based projects. We have started recently OADM, Odisha Agriculture Drought Mitigation Program, which is funded by NDMF, and ICRISAT, IRI, and ICAR both are working. Just within the country, we have 12 states, and Odisha leading in that aspect also. About pilot-based projects, we have a partner with Gates Foundation. Nidhi ma'am is here. We are proud that Gates Foundation has given a lot of chance to make our policy to be robust. 10 organizations are working in CRC, GRC, and other aspects by Gates Foundation funding. I'll cite an example. Social Alpha is doing one that the machineries which are not adopted by the farmers, are adopted in outside state or outside country, they are piloting in our states, and we are in the pipeline to include this in our system also. So apart from Gates Foundation partnership, we are working with FAO, IOM, and other national and international organizations so that make our policy and schemes more robust. Another thing I'll say that about incentive to rice, incentive to urea, SARS question. Actually, we are the government employees. We have stopped a mouth here. But is a very critical issue. Today, I discussed something about urea with my friends. What we'll do? There will be riots sure in our state. So I thought that the other partners should, because many times I can say, but sometimes also politics and economics cannot go together. And we technical people face a lot of problem in that issue, and our mouth is stopped there also. Like Gulad sir and Pathak sir, Chand sir, those are at the top of the policy making. They can raise their mouth to. So it is my suggestion from state Odisha, because you know urea is not needed. This amount of urea is not needed for rice also. We don't use balanced use of fertilizer, but we are helpless. And I have also two questions for all the delegates at my conclusion. We are focusing on production. Though we are not focusing on consumption. Consumption takes its own care. But we are not properly focusing on marketing. Marketing is nobody's business. We are agriculture people who are telling we are concerned with production. Then who will take up the marketing? And there is no convergence, no tie-up. Still, we have tried. In our millet mission, we have tried value addition and marketing. In our APC program, we have tried for value addition and marketing aspects. But I think this is not sufficient. So marketing is the measure, because previously we did input-led extension. Then we go to production-led extension. Now market-led extension. But my grassroots level worker cannot say nothing. It may be negative about market. He knows only production. So we have to think in a policy. This since it is evidence-led food system, we should think on it. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, Dr. Patnaik. Of course, see, we are not going into all those very difficult and critical questions, but let me share with you Odisha is one of the states out of so many which are really very, very interested in focusing on new innovations, new knowledge, new technologies. And if you see in last maybe more than a decade or so, lots of innovations have really gone into Odisha agriculture. And that is the reason that the growth rate of Odisha agriculture is more than many other states. So these are all positive points. And of course, there are always some kinds of, lapses in evidence and policy and something. So populist, popular, policy, and Pattanayak. These are all very difficult things to combine together. But thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mr. Pattanayak. Can I go to the next one? Yeah.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Now I will invite Sri Anil Kumar Jha, Cane Commissioner, Sugarcane Industry Department, Government of Bihar.
Namaste. Bharat Saab, Gulati Saab, all distinguished guests on the dais, so those who are connected. बिहार में जो आप जो फूड पॉलिसी और इसके संदर्भ में बात कर रहे हैं, तो बिहार के कुछ एक्सपीरियंसेस और एविडेंस बेस्ड जो है जो पॉलिसी वर्क करती है और जो पॉलिसी वर्क नहीं करती है, I think I will mention a few of it before you. So Bihar has taken a path to have a agriculture roadmap since 2008. So 2008, the Bihar chose to initiate focus not on the programs and the projects, but on the roadmaps, and it works. And I will show with some of the evidences how the roadmap approach works. Initially started with 3 departments: agriculture, cooperative, and the animal husbandry. Now it has 12 participating departments in the agriculture roadmap. And 12 departments in the government framework, if they come together under the, of course, the leadership of the Honorable Chief Minister. And initially, we also had the agriculture cabinet for that sake. So that really helps the agriculture, not only talking about the food, the field, the crops, the animal husbandry in isolation, but in togetherness. When we started this journey, the Bihar agriculture was almost very heavily dependent upon diesel-based irrigation. Now almost it is no diesel-based irrigation. So that means if you have an issue, if you are working with the people who can really help you, then that works for you. Similarly, in the sugarcane industries department, now I have when you say you are trying to have an opportunity to diversify your cropping system. You want to have a crop where the rice is grown, where the wheat is grown, and some crops would occupy. I was speaking with my counterpart in the food department and just making a point with him that if you say that if you have rice procurement around 40 lakh metric ton, you will be procuring rice. So then you will be paying some 8,000 crore to the farmers. With the only 10 sugar mills, procuring some 65 lakh tons of sugar cane. And the payment to the farmers is around 2,500 crores. So 2,500 crores, nobody knows what is going on in the ecosystem, but the payment is almost 1/3 of what is being paid for the rice procurement. So that means the drivers are there. You will have to speak with what drives, what works in the field. Now, when the government of Bihar, through its agriculture roadmap, is talking about bringing more sugar industry, vibrant sugar industry back in the Bihar, that means that will solve a part of its problem of diversifying the food system, the crop system. In one of the evidence based in the Betia, one of my sugar mills, the sugar mill is not only producing sugar, it is producing ethanol, it is producing electricity, it is producing CBG, it is producing fertilizer. So one sugar cane is producing 5, the energy security, the food security, and the money security, secured money to the farmers, the farmers' income. So the roadmap works. That is one of the learnings or evidence that I have to share with you. We have a very robust program of climate resilient agriculture programs in 2019. Again, how the networking and coming together works is the example of the ICRISAT, the BISA, the ICAR, the agricultural universities, KVKs, and the department. So around 300 crore project and implemented from 2019 to 2025. Some of the numbers that speaks of itself. See the rice production recording all-time high in 2024-25 is 94 lakh tons. So I think it's something which cannot be imagined initially when you are starting the journey with around 26 lakh tons of rice production in 2005. So in 25, in the years of 20 years, this has increased like anything. So many things have worked for this. But also the contributor to this factor is the climate resilient agriculture program. But when you come together, the real challenge is, are we on the same, with the same objective, with the same intensity, focused or not? So researchers, I have the feeling that the researchers may not be that much focused when they go to the farmers' field. The way they talk on the policy platform, the same intensity is not shown in the farmers' field. But if you can come together and show the same intensity, then that really works. So my take is that science works, scientists works, but that has to be converted into the result in the field. And if that is done, the Bihar Agriculture Roadmap and Climate Resilient Agriculture Program are the key examples of that evidence. When the scientists, the science-driven policies and the science-driven programs works, and that helps in the food grain production and also the diversification. See the maize production from 15 lakh metric ton to 54 lakh metric ton in Bihar. So again, another example of diversification. And now I am happy that the ICRISAT is driving the millet program in Bihar. So Bihar agriculture, supported by its agriculture roadmap, climate resilient agriculture program, Jal Jeevan Haryali mission, and the natural and organic farming practices being adopted on the large scale. We have large number of evidences as examples that shows that if taken at the larger level or in the other contexts also, it will be helpful for development of agriculture in the country and globally. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sri Jaji. Now I will request Sri Ravindra Kumar, Principal Secretary, Agriculture Department, Government of Uttar Pradesh. Okay, anyone? Okay, now I'll request Dr. Devesh Rai, Senior Research Fellow, IFPRI.
How do you move around in this? So just this. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to be speaking for kind of Uttar Pradesh. I'm from Bihar, very near to Uttar Pradesh, so that's so I'll just start with if you can go to the next slide. So yeah, this is the slide which tells the main story about Uttar Pradesh. This is the set of countries that have a population greater than Uttar Pradesh, and you see how few are there in the world which have a population which is greater than. So Uttar Pradesh is not a country, it's a super country, okay? And so here is your food system transformation problem, right, that you have to do. Now you can go to the next slide. So this is on the population side, and maybe very few countries, I mean, really that you can count to have a population greater than this. Now, this is when in terms of per capita income. Now, a country of 2 million people, which is like Qatar, has a per capita income which is equal to what you have, which is many times more than what UP has, right? And so this is the order of magnitude of problem that you're facing when you look at a food system transformation. And this is our agenda, is to talk about kind of Viksit Bharat, right? This is, in a lot of ways, it's an economist is kind of a very reduced form way we can think about it. It is just, it's nothing but a growth problem. Because what do you want in, if you go to the next slide, so this is, if you look at it from, I mean, beat UP, beat any other state in, or even the India as a whole, what does Viksit Bharat mean? It means that you need to reach a level of per capita income. And so one of the, the core principles that you learn as an economist, that there are two things that, if you need to grow, then if you need to reach a certain level of income, you need to grow. And if you need to grow, you need to raise your productivity. There is no other alternative, right? So this whole problem that you can reduce it to saying that how do you bring in this whole turnaround in productivity, in growth, that we can reach the goals of Viksit Bharat. So now when you look at a food system transformation, it boils down to asking this question that how does it contribute to growth? Can it bring in that rate of growth which can, spiral you all the way, then, jump start to the process that you can reach a level of, almost $14,000 per capita income, starting from where you are located now, which is about $2,700 per capita income. So it's a bit of, that we need to really, with a big leap actually. And now we have to ask the question in food system transformation, either as a cause or an effect, how is it going to play in trying to bring about a Viksit Bharat, Viksit Odisha, Viksit UP, whichever, right? And that is the fundamental question that we're trying to answer here, right? Now, so, and I'm just saying that, and there is something which, this is like what we, what Professor Bharat Ramaswamy always says, it's the macroeconomist anthem. So this is like a bit of an anthem that, what we need is just, I said that, with all these things, we have a very simple, in economic terms, we have a simple, straightforward question that we need to really kickstart growth at a very high level, right? Now, but there is a bit of dampener there that we need to, because we as economists, we also know that there is something called a middle income trap. That when you are growing, you go through this, you make this journey, you start from low income, you go to low middle income, you go to upper middle income, then you go to high income. And when you go in this middle segment, you cannot grow. That in history, humanity has not grown at a fast rate when you go in that segment. And that's called a middle income trap. So here we are thinking about that you need like an 8% growth, uninterrupted. And then the second element that comes in there, that there are not only the middle income trap, now you see the world, it's very shock ridden. Now you have, I mean, I don't want to name the person, but there's that person shock, and then there is kind of climate shock, there's this shock and that shock, and that will actually pull you down, right? And this is the thing that we have to see that how your food system transformation really contributes in this context, right? And you can go to the next one. This is about how much under different scenarios to reach the upper middle income, which is about $4,000 plus, and then you go to 14,000. That's like it's a real big leap. So if you basically that, if you're going to go to Viksit Bharat, Viksit Odisha, Viksit, we are going to burden to how do we reach this per capita income, right? And if you want to do it by 2047, what is the rate at which we need to grow, right? And how is this so-called food system transformation is really, it's predicated on that in towards reaching those levels. So now you can go to, so the point is that, this is, if you just look at across states, UP is, I mean, I have the privilege of being on the red line, which is where I come from, which is at the bottom, which is Bihar. But the point is the UP is just above that. And so you see that this is it's not only, and that's why we say that there is something that, we have to all do it together. But there is going to be Viksit Bharat, then there will be Viksit Bihar. And for my own self-interest, that, you can never become a Viksit Bharat if you do not do a Viksit Bihar, because that's the red line, which actually, and it's aptly put in a red line, right? And so now you couldn't go to the next one. So these are the cutoffs you have seen that, that will make you a Viksit country, which is a developed country. So it requires sustained growth of 8% in nominal GDP, right? And per capita in current US dollars, right? And these are, these are in the World Bank Atlas methods, which really account for exchange rate changes, it account for inflation and so on. And this is actually that, you see the leap from going from $2,700 per capita to going to something over 13,000 plus in now almost 20 years, right? That is, so you can go to the next slide. And so this is I'm saying making of a Viksit Bharat and a Viksit UP, which is VB and VU, right? And that's where we have to see where is the agri-food system and the agri-food system transformation is going to be playing a role in this. And there are, we look at agriculture, so we need growth, and suppose we even focus on agriculture growth, there are different pathways to that. You could do it through diversification, and you could do it through technology, which is increase in productivity. You could do it through market, which is through prices. And so one of these two stylized facts, and that I really want to put to the audience here, that in human history, right, there has been, I mean, if you come with an example that we don't have any example of really high growth unless you are a very successful trader, right? No country in human history, except if you are resource rich, you have oil and, you have something. I mean, if you have some examples, you can bring it up. And this applies to whether we do it at country level or the state level. And India has a lot of possibility of trade even within India. And that's one of them. And the second thing that, also which the audience will relate is which countries are the examples where they have done very high growth without an equal participation of women in this. I mean, if you have examples of this, then you can again, bring that up. And these are the things that we want to think of. These are those focal points. And you can go to the next one. I just want to conclude because I know my time is short, but so just go forward. So these are the things. Now you can move. That's not go to the next slide. Okay, so this is so basically what we are facing is an economic growth challenge. So now you ask the question, what brings economic growth? And your economists, you should be able to answer that question, right? So the economic growth, the economies that, I already said that is all predicated on you need a precursor, and that is productivity. Now, how does the productivity come through, right? So now there is one way that economists have looked at is called the structural change approach, that is, and many times people confuse it by saying that it is a movement from agriculture to non-agriculture sector. I mean, the person who got a Nobel Prize for it and did not really mean it that way. He just meant it from moving from low productive to high productive. Yeah, so that's one is the structural change approach. And now you say, in this food system transformation, can it bring about this structural change? That means food system transformation, since it has to bring in productivity. You can go to the next one. Now, the other way, the classical way, which we call the fundamentals challenge, that you can raise your health, raise your education, which will affect all the sectors. Overall productivity will increase. and that will bring in growth, and then you can move towards Viksit Bharat. And you have to see how the food system actually contributes towards bringing you a fundamental change. And even the classical macro problems, which always treated agriculture as producing homogeneous growth, is about going from savings, going to investment, and that leads to more capital per worker and leads to more productivity increase. And that's a fundamental way. And you have to see that, whether agriculture is, and the third way, and then I'll stop here, is basically, which is we call it the third line of thought, which is we call it the agriculture value chain transformation. So one of the issues in relation to this, we should ask, and I always ask this question to my students, that what is agriculture, right? And it is the people always think about is farming. Agriculture is not only farming; it's a whole. Even if you are in a Lewis model, it's not that farmers produce and then farmers go directly and feed the people who are consuming, right? There's a whole agriculture value chain, and that's agriculture value chain transformation. You have to look at, and that is the main source of growth. Farming grows at 2 to 2.5%. The agriculture value chain grows at over 4%. So these are the things that I just really wanted to put in, and this is the way we need to look at from a Viksit, UP, Bharat, whatever perspective.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. Rao. Yeah, please take your seat. Yeah. So friends, you will agree with me that we really had very insightful presentations, starting from Dr. Gulati, and all these brief presentations, but all of these were very, very insightful and also comprehensive in their own way. Of course, we also heard about strays and trap and all kinds of socks and everything, but also we could see some of the success stories also, whether it is in Odisha or in Bihar or in Uttar Pradesh. So though there are challenges, there are limitations, there are problems, there are socks and traps, but at the same time, there are also successes. We'll be spending next around 10 minutes taking your observations, suggestions, or even questions very briefly. So please, but then I shall request you to please identify to whom you are asking this particular question or making the observation. Dr. Kulashrestha, please. Yeah.
My name is A.C. Kulashrestha. I'm fellow of NAS, and I used to be additional director general of CSO, and more than a decade I was heading the national accounts. So my question is, or a comment to Dr. Gulati. He has brought in so many things, but one thing he has missed, partly because that data is not visible inside the subsidies. There is an imputed subsidy concept in the national accounts operation of the government irrigation system. It's a state subject. The numbers come, and it's a huge amount. It is not coming to you. You will get some points out of that. And you may also note that subsidy is underestimated in the budget documents because it's a state subject. So what is given in the state is captured, but what is going to the lower bodies, it is just a transfer payment. Of that transfer payment, how much is the subsidy is not captured even today's national account. It's a weakness. It requires a lot of work. But I think that was my comment to Professor Gulati. And my other, if you allow me one small, I have been saying in NAS, you have heard me, that future food is in sea. Please note it. 47 will come. I may not be there, but 47 will come. You will not have sufficient food from the land. You have to go to the sea, and not much attention is paid. I have worked for several years in Asia and Pacific region. Everything, most of the things depend upon the seafood. Please concentrate on that, and let us have another session. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Yes, we shall take few comments, and then, sir, I shall request that. Yeah. So can I get to, yeah, please.
Shall I go?
Oh, yeah, please go ahead.
Okay, thanks to the excellent panel. So we've heard from the keynote speaker tomorrow that evidence-based policies are challenged globally. We also heard from Ashok that even in a country like India, evidence is not always taken up in policy making. Now, maybe one solution is AI. Maybe one solution is we have to take political economy more into account. We have to talk about second, third, fourth best options. So my question to Ashok is, what else can we do as researchers to make sure that evidence is moving up the ladder again? Thank you.
Thank you very much. Maybe one or two more. Yeah. Can I go to this? Yeah, blue jacket. Yes.
My name is Shekhar. I'm from Institute of Economic Growth. My question is to Professor Gulati. Sir, as an academician who has traversed the policy-making space equally well, I have one question. In your writings, you have always you have brought out the inefficiencies of MSP procurement system, and then you have argued for shift to a direct payments or deficiency payments, not deficiency, but mainly direct payments kind of things. So as a policymaker who has been a part of the Prime Minister's Economic Advisory Council and also CACP chairman, how difficult is it to make this switch? Because even direct payments, I reckon, would be equally vote catching, if not more. Yeah.
Thank you. Just maybe one or two more. Can I go to next? Yeah, next row, please. Yes.
Hi, my name is Apurv Khandelwal. I lead the Sustainable Food Systems Program at the Council on Energy, Environment and Water, CEW. We're a Delhi-based think tank. I have two-part question for Dr. Gulati and others who may want to respond to. Question one, now this evidence-led recommendations would come. In your experience and others, where are the right venues to take this evidence and be able to drive real change? I think a lot of us, including CW, have been attempting different venues. A couple of venues we have seen is state level Viksit state plans are emerging. Is that becoming a space? Because for long-term thinking is happening, so there is avenue for that kind of reflection. Multiple departments are coming together, but what at least we have seen is that still Viksit state plan end up becoming a bottom-up exercise where departments are coming for their own visions, and it's just sort of aggregated. Net zero plans are emerging at states that is solving for 2070 roadmap. So is that a venue? But are there other venues? Yeah. And then second, the question on political economy, sir. It is real and we cannot run away from that. So why not initiatives like Policy Innovation Hub actually take up political economy analysis and ways to navigate it, and what kind of narratives will work, what kind of people perception surveys should be brought out, kind of analytics also as part of the overall proposition.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Last in this part, Madam behind. Yeah. Yeah.
My name is Sampriti Barua and I head the Sustainable Agriculture for WRI India. I have a question to Team Orissa. We have heard a lot about Millet Mission and we've read, and it's a successful model and we all know about it. But while reading about it, while hearing about Millet Mission today, what is not coming out clearly, Team Orissa, is that it's doing a lot on the supply side. The supply side of the supply chain, but how is Orissa managing the demand side? As somebody said that nobody is looking at markets, that's not coming out in the case study reporting. And as we are all working on roadmaps, if somebody could illustrate that, will be very helpful. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. We shall stop at this part of this question answer. And I request Professor Gulati if you can. But sir, you have to be very, very brief. Otherwise, I know, I mean, of course, there are very difficult and elaborative questions. Let's have this.
Clement, I think policies are made in a political economy framework. They are more concerned with their remaining in power than the economic growth issue. Okay. Investing in R&D, returns you will get after 10 years to develop one breed. They are not in power. So immediately what they feel is, just before the election, can I distribute some money and get votes? So this is what is happening all over. Now, the way we need to look, and I have interacted enough with the PMO, other PMO. You know, like when we are saying repurposing subsidies, first, the bureaucrats and the politicians need to understand there is no extra payment they are making. If, like in millets or pulses or oil seeds, you give in place like Punjab or Haryana 40,000 rupees per hectare for switching from paddy to pulses, there is no extra money you are paying, because the center will save the fertilizer subsidy and the state will save the power subsidy. And both need to come together. That's where partnership is needed. We talked to the powers here in center. Can you put in? Haryana has taken some stand and they are giving 17,500 earlier they were giving. Now they are giving 25,000 rupees per hectare. So I said, can the center also put in 25,000? Then immediately your problem will be. And the center says, if this demand comes immediately from other states also, what will I do? I said, listen, you will be saving all the fertilizer subsidy. So if the states are putting half, why don't you top up with that? But it's still not very clear to them. Oh, we will have to first give, and whether the savings will come, not diversion of this, all those issues are there. But there is an important issue of how to give. Because just before the election in 2019, we were very close. Okay, we will give direct payments. It all started off with KCR in Telangana. And he sent 3 top bureaucrats to my office. We had 3-4 hour session that you combine all these subsidies and give in one, because they are less distorting. Direct payment is much less distorting than MSP business or free power or subsidy on fertilizers. He started off, it went to Odisha, Kalia program. This was Raitu Bandhu, and then the PMO called. What we need to do? Okay, can you bring fertilizer subsidy and top up with something? Oh, this is it. Because fertilizer prices, urea price will go up 5 times, 10 times, and that will create all sorts of opposition and all that. So they said, okay, we will give something. PM Kisan came out of that. So they gave that, but did not reform the price subsidy. And price subsidy is a major distortion because it creates all the marketing inefficiencies. So I think you have to work with them that it needs preparation, 6 months, 1 year preparation to do this, because the biggest issue, even Raitu Bandhu, they gave only through landowners, and they may be sitting somewhere in US because the land records are not there. And who is a tenant? Another 1/3 of tenancy is there. So how do you? So there is a lot of triangulation of data. We have different data sets where AI ML can be used to identify who is the real cultivator, who is the owner. And we need to approach the cultivator who is actually tilling the land. And that issue, patience is needed, but it can be done. Good thing is now Agriculture Minister has started saying we want to give directly to the farmer. There was a statement. Mr. J.P. Nadda, the Minister of Chemical and Fertilizer, said in the parliament that we know farmer needs 4 bags and he is taking 8 bags. So said, put some quantitative restriction. What crop you are growing, what is the State Agriculture University's recommendation for that? Because out of those 8 bags, maybe 3 are diverting to industry or somewhere else. So some thinking has started, but it's a long haul, and that's where issue is not just the technology of AI, but how to bring in the political economy issues, and whether the votes will be switching here or there or some complication will come. I think that accounting is not taken by us as economists. We simply give economic answers. They are not convinced with that. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Professor Gulati. There is one for Odisha, Millet Mission, and Mr.
Yes.
Misra is with us. Mr. Misra, very briefly, if you could respond to that particular query.
Yes, thank you, sir. The point raised by Madam is very valid. Marketing issue is the Sri Anna Vijan Mission, which was previously called the Millet Mission, is a whole of government initiative, not only of the Department of Agriculture. So what has happened is that it is the SC/ST department's tribal cooperatives who are procuring it for the departmental initiative. So they come into the mass bulk procurement from individual farmers who have registered under MPAS. The next issue is that the same out of that same procurement, bulk supplier is again government. It means it is handing it back to the same community in shape of PDAs. The next comes the Mission Shakti initiative, where Mission Shakti Mission Shakti department is there, where WSHGs are taking a predominant role. And in Odisha, in every office, government offices, may it be a block, district headquarters or state headquarters, there is a brand Mission Shakti promoting exclusively millets. So starting from processed food out of millet to raw millets in shape of grains are also being branded and pushed into the market through the Millet Shakti Cafe. The next initiative is by the PR department, where ORMAS rural marketing, they are also independently getting into the procurement and branding it and selling it, because the popularization drive for the millets nutritive aspect has gone up to that level. It is picking up very well. So all these departmental initiatives are very well pulling the millets into good marketing spheres. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mishra. Thank you very much. We'll be taking few more very briefly, just maybe one or two sentences. Sanjay Agrawal ji. Sanjay ji has been in the hem of the affairs for quite some time. So, yes.
I
Sanjay.
respect Professor Gulati a lot from heart. He knows this thing.
Yeah.
So asking question to him is very difficult for me. I'll make a point, ask a question to you. Fertilizer subsidy is a very important aspect, very small raised out. And you talked about politics as important this thing. Is a political issue behind fertilizer subsidy, or if you talk to the farmers, all the farmers, whatever grade would be, want a cash subsidy instead of fertilizer, and talk to the government, highest level, they want to cap fertilizer subsidy and give a cash thing. So all the important stakeholder, politically cash flow advantages are on the same page. Is it more of the modalities of execution or the politics? This is a question to you. And one to Debashish, very important thing he raised, one of the first time heard in this conference here, agri value chain transformation is one important thing he raised this thing. It has a large number of quotations, this thing. I just want to know from you, 3 important points for agriculture, not elaborate, just name for that thing. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you. Yes, of course, we shall know more questions, but then quickly, Mr. Gulati, if you can respond, and then Dr. Roy, if you can very briefly respond to that. Yes.
First, building consensus where to cap and give directly, because the world over, price subsidies, whether on the output side or on the input side, have created major distortions. US used to give and they had mountains of grains and they had to throw it out. We are building the same thing today on the output side. On the input side, the damage that we are doing to our soils and all that, it's very clear. So question is, how do you make the transition, right? Let's say 2 lakh crores we have to give. And now 2 lakh crores, you have to build a narrative. First, you have to earn the trust of the farmer, because the opposition immediately, the moment urea price goes up even by 10%, you know the narrative. Farmer ke pet pe laat maar di, farmer ye ho gaya, wo ho gaya. So you have to win the farmers that you will not be a loser, you will be a gainer. In fact, you can top it up along with the PM Kisan and this. Now, what is the modality? One is somebody is having only 1 crop, others are having 2 crops. Wheat, rice versus millets, the requirements are different, so you have to refine there. Now, one possibility is, okay, 2 lakh crores, we give it to the states depending upon how many farmers or how much of the cropped area is. And then leave it to the states to identify the farmers and on what basis, depending upon the crop, irrigated, unirrigated, wheat or rice, you give on that basis. So you co-opt the states along with it. Because many a times when only the center imposes, some states, anything the center wants to do, you have been a party to that, farm laws, and you know what had happened. So you have to have a preparatory ground for 6 months, 1 year at the highest level to earn the trust of the farmer that whatever changes are going to be done would be beneficial for the farmers. Otherwise, the wrong narrative immediately picks up and then it gets derailed. So lot of prey, but it's a 2 lakh crore. And the other food subsidy, nobody is talking about 2,27,000 crores. अरे भैया सभी को बांटी जाओगे, मेरे को भी दे दो free food.
Thank you, Professor Gulati. Dr. Roy, Devesh ji.
Yes. If you look at most of the value globally that is generated in agriculture is now in the value chain, right? In the developed country, like you go to US and all, only 15% of the value is generated on farm. Now in India also, if you see over time, it is how it is changing. It has been following very steeply. That is the share of value that is generated on farm. It's actually in the value chain. If you look at the compound annual growth rates, right, this has been going at 3.54%, while agriculture would be going at 3% or 2.5%. So, and once you are addressing the growth, that's why we call it the third school of thought when it comes to agri-food system transformation in relation to growth. And so this includes food services, food processing, food manufacturing, and it addresses a lot of your development. Like many people probably don't register that one of the most gender-friendly segment for employment in India is food manufacturing. Many places it employs more women than men, right? They make papad, they make this and that. And so these are, including your growth problem, your development problem, and that's what in food services, in retail, in processing, in wholesale, the whole meat stream, which we call it the silent revolution in terms of storage and warehousing. And these are the segments that we need to really put as a segment that will pull up growth for your quote-unquote agriculture sector.
Thank you very much, Dr. Roy. Very quickly, we shall take maybe 1 or 2 more minutes. Is it very, very urgent? Yeah, please go ahead. Yeah.
All of you were talking about reduction in MSP and other things in agriculture. I just want to ask, I think there is a need of MSP for the small ruminant products like meat and wool. What your opinion, Dr. Gulati?
Can we keep it for the lunch? That's it. Yeah. Because there are several things I know. Very quickly, so maybe two or three sentences, Susma, from chair side. Yes. I can see. Yeah.
I will not take more time as we are already delayed 40 minutes. So in brief, I will not repeat whatever it has been discussed since morning, just whatever it is left. So that I want to say something about, though I am representing from Ministry of Agriculture and Farmers Welfare to National Railfed Area Authority. As you know, the session was food system prioritization in Viksit Bharat. So we'll have to talk more about the food system prioritization. As you know, as in India, if you tell about the world, 90% of world food is coming from only 22 species of plant. 90% world food coming from 22 plant species. So that we'll have to prioritize accordingly how much area it is under what we're talking about in India. Rain-fed agriculture, so that is 45% of net zone area. But if you tell about the fallow land, what we're talking about, the migration and all those things, lots of fallow land is increasing. So cultivable wastelands, fallow land, and all other land, if you say, it is coming out around 69 or 70% total cultivable area. So we'll have to prioritize with respect to that area. What is our with respect to food, what we are talking about? It may be water security or food security or nutritional security or all over livelihood security. So this water, energy, and food system as a nexus, we'll have to think about, and we'll have to prioritize the our food system. And another thing is, as we are talking about this prioritization, So we are lacking less discussion. Maybe after this, it will be more discussion about this. We'll have to think about more about the horticulture, because we are talking about nutritional security. And Dr. Gulati sir has told about the paddy and sir wheat in Punjab and Haryana. If we'll see production though increase, but productivity go down, because though there is there are so many problems that there is due to lack of time. I am not able to say all those things. But if we'll see the productivity to be increase and to increase the food nutrition, so we'll have to include the horticultural crops. So that is the important thing. And through agroforestry system, and also the water what we're talking about, demand and supply management. So both the things we'll have to look into, demand side as well as supply management side also. And what we are not talking much more about, though we are talking food, but will have to talk about the water also, what Dr. Gulati sir emphasized. So that is the water and energy. For that, PM Kusum and other schemes that has been launched by the government of India. So there are so many schemes you will see. So all those things we will have to integrate it, and we will have to think about how to prioritize our food system to have more food security through all the system. And from National Rainfed Authority, that's why, sir, we are developing, and we have also discussed it is with the cabinet, and National Rainfed Agriculture Policy. So that is under the way. So whatever the discussion, I will request the organizer, so that whatever the discussion will be made today, some of the things we can include in the Rainfed Agriculture Policy. So all those things, all water, energy, food, everything, it has been written. So that all has to be through a different session, brainstorming and all those things that has to be finalized. So I will request to the organizer to have provide us the recommendations. And with this, thank you very much for giving me this opportunity. The whole very much thankful to whole organizers for this, all the CGIAR system, ICR, ICRISAT. Though NARA is working very well with ICRISAT, and through reward project as well as the drought mitigation project, and our sir Pathak sir, it will not be good for me, sir, to if I'll not thank you very much, because I was in Asia, just came to since 1 year in National Rainfed Authority. You are a previous Director General of ICAR, and sir, thank you very much for giving me this opportunity. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. And with this, we conclude this session.
Thank you. That was an excellent session. Very interesting discussion and questions. But we have an equally interesting next session coming up for us. We are just giving a 2 minutes bio break for any of you who would like to step out and come in. And we would, because we are already 45 minutes beyond our schedule, so we are starting in next 2 minutes, the next session.